The one that is singing to sing for us. A roving mic. Let's proceed.
Juju unyaga masocha ma Yawe tuwa Pare toga Pare juju unyaga masocha ma Pare toga Tio, yo mama tio, tio mama tio, awenga lente sienza yo, awe palotina.
Fighters of Mupani and
Anga lente sienza yo, lente sienza yo. Lente sienza yo Awe fuma moyawa Fuma moyawa Fuma moyawa Abu fuma moyawa Fuma moyawa Fuma moyawa Amale mana ye huyayas Maya ye huyayas Valotina Anga lente sienza yo Lente sienza yo Lente sienza yo Ayele Awe spamente yami Eyami Pamwente yami bo Eyami bo Awe aka eyami Eyami Awe akante yami bo Eyami bo Awe kala gamnandi Awe kala gamnandi bo Awe kala pepe Awe spamwente ya mebo Awe kala pepe Awe akante ya mebo Dio mama Dio Batibizane fire brigade Obizane fire brigade Obizane fire brigade Obizane fire brigade EFF Chesa Limpopo
Fighters of Vembede, please stand up and sing. We are in the conference. Fighters, you must stand up.
Fire brigade. Fire brigade. Fire brigade. Fire brigade. EFF Chesa Limpopo. EFF Limpopo. Obizane fire brigade. Obizane fire brigade. Obizane fire brigade. Obizane fire brigade. EFF Limpopo. Yo. EFF Limpopo. Arikia swamawe kabela bela. Arikia swamawe kabela bela. Aware opotera go Limpopo abo jojo. Aware opotera go Limpopo abo jojo. Ariga swamawe kabela bela. Ariga swamawe kabela bela.
Andinifa
Zimbabwe Mugabe
Anifagale
Angola Ewenato Tanzania Nyerere Zambiki Mashele South Africa Malema
Tio mama tio Kuta waska utunya Kuta waska utunya Awe no ma siafa sofa sete Awe no ma siafa sofa sete Wate halo juju Awe halo juju Awe no ma siafa sofa city Awe no ma siafa sofa city Awe halo juju Awe halo juju Awe mama Awe mama Awe mama tolonga kale Uzolonga Awe mama Awe mama tolonga kale Uzolonga Awe mama tolonga ka Awe mama solenyeme Awe mama tolonga kale Uzolonga Awe mama tolonga ka Awe mama solenyeme Awe mama tolonga kale Uzolonga Revena mayaga Awelele maya Awelele Chi Revena mayaga Awelele mayaga Awele Sangena tina songena tina Awelele mayaga Senzele tina Tio mama tio
Kuta, let's go, winner. Kuta, let's go, winner. Ramaphosa semofone, sifunu malema. Ramaphosa semofone, sifunu malema. Kanyamazani siya yabo, hosiya yabo. Kanyamazani siya yabo, hosiya yabo. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Ramaphosa semofone, sifunu malema. Ramaphosa semofone, sifunu malema. Kanyamazani siya yabo, hosiya yabo. Kanyamazani siya yabo, hosiya yabo. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Ramaphosa semufuni, sifunu malema. Ramaphosa semufuni, sifunu malema. Kanyamazani siya yabo, siya yabo. Hosiya yabo, hosiya yabo. Hosay to, hosay to. Kanyamazani say to, hosay to. Haritio, yo mama tio, yo mama tio. Barabam, 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 barabam. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, I know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, fighters. Can we all settle? Thank you very much, fighters. Can we all settle as we are about to start our third Limpopo Provincial Conference? Let us all settle. Those who are walking, Osimpo, can you sit down there? We are now waiting for Khosi Khadi Hutsena. And when she arrives, and then we will all have to stand up to show the respect. So we're just waiting for that moment. It's in a minute. Can we all stand up?
Khoshi wa go mohlake mohlaka marole motlhopi wa mmasibotse sa di mo solo mathebo sena ka dirala magodu a tubatse O wa phoko le phokwana. O wa majomaramaga majomagolo ka mabedi a matlapang ke go maya tshilwane. Wa mo ketsa khotongwana di mo lehlabirwa ba tlako ba raphola ngwato ba pedi ba mammotlo a noko mana. Takalakala sa mabuko. O re ga geshu ka bile go fa dina go fengwa. Wa mangana mogwera go tsugile mahlake ba re go tsugile mogwera go seleme sa morwa koma. Ba re koma ga di tshabela tshabile madikadikana. Di tshabela mosetle bokoni. Ke ngwana mahlaola ledima bohuma matlanyana bohlolo jwa tabane. Ba le ledimo le tshuma batho naga ka mphagane kopo tlatladulela ka kgoshi. Ke le botsala masinya mahlong thepeng ke le tlotse taga molomo ke kgometse ngwana. Kwa khala ntlola makwa, kwa khala ntlola marumo, ke se busha mogotsi ya go sethile moletla. Ke thulare ke ngwana kgoshi ya sekukune. Thulare ke ngwana kgoshi ya sekukune sa malema, wa kgoshi wa mashila manyama. Wa mashila ga tisha bongwakwana, wa mashila ga tisha ka lekopelo. Ke mamosela matuba ke tsotsobo kwa tshusha ba re mosela o tlatla le poka le fokeng. Ke tsotsobo kwa tshusha ke tsotsobo kwa mmanna ka lephatleng ba nna ka la go lana la palla masole. Le shitile maburu ka lana re tetša tshitšhila manyama. Ke mmadi re di sena go mosepelo, mashile ke namane ra etetša, mashile ke namana moshitwana, mashile ke namane e tshungwana. O tsetsekala khorona le tsibo go tsetsekala borwala ga masemola ke mogatša go gola ka isising sa Motebele ke mogatša ngwana na moopong ke ba psikulusha matsoka le babo ke theledi ya marota ba re theledi ka borwa tšo senyana ke masenyeletša matuba ke masenyamagadi ya batho ba re tshukutšwana mphatana lena madira tšhabantšhaba mantšokodi a etla ke le ntšana le hloka sekurikuri le mano ke mphiri malo maserete tata go ngwana mohube se bolae sa matuba ntše ka manakadi a lla tele ya khala ntlola moshito wa makwa mashila ga tisha budiphale o re ga geshu ga re tsotsoropega re a phurunkela go tsotsoropega go tšhaba marumo o re no ka nela ya ba khatla ke no kana manye o re ke nna ke moretela no ka ke retetse ke reteletse maburu ga Jobere tlapo ga di a phatla ba u se batla go nna gore
Thank you very much. As we remain standing, we are opening with our national anthem that is composed by Enoch Sontonga. Bontate ba go le dikuane ha re opela. Nkosi sikeleni Afrika maluphakanyisu pondolwayo izwa mithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo Nkosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakanyi supondolwayo zoimithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina lusapho lwayo oza moya Morena bulu setšhaba sa Yesu o fedisa dintwa le matshwenye o se boloke setšhaba sa Yesu setšhaba sa Afrika o se boloke morena se Amanda. Away, 2. Thank you very much. As we sit down, we are going to call upon Rufiwa to come and give us an item. Rufiwa.
Viva EFF, viva. And the Mategwana. Batu botakara. Rikundanga urawati. Tidura komfana. Rikundanga urawati. We conquer because of being united and being one. Okay. So I would like us to sing this one together, about 3 in 1. Yeah, you can start it. We do it together and say it.
Woman,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. As we proceed, we're now going to call upon Dr. Commissar Mbuyiseni Ndlozi to come and give and do the introduction of our guest, Doctor.
Deputy President of the EFF, Commissar, the Deputy President of the EFF, Floyd Shivambu, and the Commissars of the Central Command Team, delegates of the Third People's Assembly, Meragwaka, Kumu Kuchwa, I want to invite all of us comrades to welcome Maroshi Arena and be able to account of their presence, their proper titles, and acknowledge the greatest honor they've really done to this people's movement. Firstly, I want to recognize, appreciate, and welcome Her Majesty, Queen Mother Tulare, Hlapogadi ya Phahla, Queen of the Bapedi Nation. Kgoshi Siyakamela, Tlo. Kgoshi Mafefe, Thobejane. Babina Noko, Paledi Mothapo, Bakgaga ba Mothapo Royal Council, Moemedi wa Kgoshi Kgabo Moloto, the third, ke bang ba mmu, Babina Queen, Babina Queen. During the course of this conference and assembly, comrades, we will be welcoming various traditional leadership who will be joining us tomorrow, will be joining us even on Monday. For an example, we have Osi Mkhatshane Maluleke of Hlanegi Royal Council. He will be also joining us on the course of the conference. We'll announce them as and when they are with us. We must welcome as well the delegation of the South African Federation of Trade Union, led by Phala wa Palakatsela. But I think the provincial secretary is here. So please give them a great round of applause, comrades. We had a different briefing earlier on. The provincial secretary of the Limpopo National Taxi Alliance, Mr. Peter Morashwa. The former president of the Student Command Fighter Mandla Shikwamban is also here with us. Our deputy president, through you, we also have the former mayor of here Polokwane, as well as the Capricorn district, our own fighter, fighter Lawrence Mapoulo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Haritswella pele re mo gae tla ga mogele beng ba mmu kemedi ya bogoshi bo rakgabo moloto wa boraro go tla a re fe lefoko kemedi go tswa ko lapeng le kgosi kgabo moloto wa boraro a re ba emise.
Relebo. Ere thome ka go tlhompha lena maorena bao le re sepetša go fa re tlhomphe boetapele jwa EFF, the deputy president Ntate Shibampo ba re gona le the People's Bay. Re a le hlompha Papa Ndlosi bo boetapele ba province bo bolego gona re tlhomphe boetapele ba bašomi ke kolo re bo gona fa ba dithekisi re kolo re le gona fa ke re ka lena re tlhomphe maaparajwatle ba diatla bojagaraga re tlhomphe ba ntšwa go ntlopuleng ya bapedi bomma wa rena tlhapaga di a phatla ke latlha bonyatši mma go nna re a lefa bao ba tšwa go boakamela re le kwele kgoši ya ka se akamela re le kwele kgoši ya ka ngwato ka mafefe ke re ke iphošolle ka re ngwana kgoši ke kola saebe ga botsefa re a le hlompha le bao nkabe ke ba tlhaeditšego mahlo fa ke ne fa le ntona kgoši e le go ntona matlou ge le kwa lentšu le le ganelela fase fa maabane re tlhole re iketlile kwa ga ntlhoma marumong. When the South African reconcile with whoever, agaba dumela gore is a reconciliation day, Dr. Ndlozi. Rena ba tlhaloga we were reconciling with our custom, with our tradition and culture. Bialo re tlhole fale re na le the CIC mošabi wa mogolo re tlhole le bona a ja le tameto bona kwa ga ntlhoma jwale re le tsere le ja ke re fetša go le ja mma go nna hlapagadi le tametlo le na le tshepedišo ya lona e le fetša go le ja le a jala la tlhela marapo le mola ka gore re tšhaba dipula tša difako re sontše re lale re kgobaketša gore marapo a la ona a se ka ba kgakala jwale ile la batšatši le ile ba la tlhaba ka mokgwa ba letse ba iketlile bopapa mapoulo kwa re kgobaketša marapo a letlametlo le bokgoši seakamela e le tlhaba be re goba ke tša ri ya boneta re a epela gore a se ka tla re tlholela pula tša difako jwale le rile ge le hlaba ke ge re sa le pisi le o mogolo a ba rawa e re ke khutšenyana go na le invitation ya bana baka ke swantse go dira re ke re tle re sepele re kole gore ba re ke 1 o'clock re beakantše jwale le bona ba kholofetse gore swantse re tle re sepele bokgotši ga bo moloto wa boraro ka pati ya ba gore ba swarega ile ge re 1 o'clock re ba tlhola re go sele a re tlogeng ba hwetša ba imelega ba re ke kwa mmele wa ka lebile o se botse ke ba tsena le ke phefo fela ba no re ke kgopela go nkišetše molatša o go bana ba kgoši ka mphela ba tšwa go province ya gešo le national gore Capricorn re le amogetše re le amogetše gona mo sešego sa mabolokela dihloka gona mo ga bo mokgoba a kgoboketša batlhalogo ba re mokgoba a kgoboketša bana ba geno ba bowe seo re amogelang ka sona kgoši gore ka mphela ba letšwa go tswetara mapulana ba go letšwa go bopedi le ba go letšwa go ka mphoela ko Waterberg le phalaboro ga malatši ka mopane kgoši ga bo moloto wa boraro gore re le amogela ka pula ba re tšotlhe ka moka manane wa lena ka moka le sepele gabotse e re modimo le badimo ba lefase ke dumela re kwala gabotse ke gatelele e re modimo le badimo ba lefase leo bana ba kgoši ba lwa go ntwa madi le motho a ka ba khwa ge le bolla ka lefase le la botatago le na le ba le etepele ke tswalela ke re ipshineng le lokologeng kgoši gore wa phomeletše ba tla ba mahlatsela ka mantaga yo a phomeletšeng ba no gore mahlatse le matlhogonono re tšwele pele go ratana re dire se ka lerato mahlatse le matlhogonono bana ba kgoši ka mphela re no re pula ga re e ne le ntlogolo ya mme Winnie Mantikdele Mantela re ne pula ga ene mošate re a leboga
a re leboge bo bokgošing re gotse ditlhako re fa gae ka go rialo bokgoši ba re gorogile ba re amogetse ba kgopela difate rona re tla sala re tswelela pele ka tiro bokgošing ba kopela difate Can we have an item? Winnie Mandela, Mama wa Musabalazo. Winnie Mandela, Mama wa Musabalazo. Oh mama wetu. Amanda, it's realo.
Comrades, really a great pleasure. Her Majesty, the Queen of Bapedi Nation, would like to say a few words. Please, can we pay attention to the words that she will leave with us? Let us welcome her with a great round of applause. Thank you.
Sebatakgomo, tšhaba sa Thulare. Sebatakgomo, tšhaba sa Thulare. O re bapedi re tswa bokgatla. Itse ge re tswa bokgatla jwa dithebe mashupiana le utla dikumela ge re tswa go gapa tao tšešo kwa Masetle. Tsona di tshetse ka la kgorwana le tsibogo le wela ba kwena le loetse go jwa le jwa ga masimo la bohlapa botswa. Itse ge di kgereša le tsibogo la ka mošola le ka mošono. Phoputso le namane na le mefapa nna ke le ya mampampa theledi. Ka ba ka re phare dinaba ka ba le dimola go ja kgomo ka kwana mmane ke kunne mme mošopi ya ditheledi ya marota. Ela ba re go ka borwa di tšo senyana di tšo thopatšara dipilwana. Mpiletšeng lona le ka tsele legolo la marota. A botse le ka tabedi lela la madula a rarabane. Jwalo ka bomorwa mankora mathejwana hloga tau. Mo gotlwaneng ka mokgwa dikgobokanang le tšeng melamo ya mapara le itlhotleleng ka yona. Lo binela koma kwa ga Thulare. Ba re botšha jwa sekwati bo roga mediti ya bona mola maloba re be re ba kgela melao ka mekgogomeng. A le hono lena ba re ba sekwati melao ye meswa le tšotše ya kae. Ke ngwana kgoše sekukune. Sekukune ke ngwana kgoše sekwati-kwati sa bomma boforotlo. Sa se hula bošego se kwata-kwatiša batho botlakala. Se tlhole ngwanana ntlong e le manwa go ya tatago ngwanana. Ke phalo ya masefala mathoko e ba re go gare dišo thula ko bomaroba. Ba phalo ba mokitlana tšatši ba thamaga mabuo bo mmamorolane ba re go kgwadi ka lenaka ke epolotše. Ebile ke beile meta mmala metlake ya borakgalake. Motšhe mogolo sela e wa kgala marota. A bommabolokwa ga maredi. O re ke mmidibiding. Ke dikgojwaneng tša ngwana se hula bošego. Ba re ba bagolo le ba bannyane ba mo tseba. Ba re ke manyela. Ba re ke ena le wa kgalapuane. Wa teditšeng ke go hlaga sa mamošiano ke. Tlapoga di a phatla ba uba. Sebatakgomo maore.
Akieme ke leboge Deputy President wa EFF. Ke leboge baetapele ka moka ba di-branches. Ke leboge magoši a rena a lego mo lehono. Ga ke se lebale bapedi ba mootlwa notlo e le go batlhako ba raphaola ngwato. Ke le tamiše ka moka le bana ba Thulare. Bana ba Thulare ya malema. Le se baleng ga bo lena. Ga le mo Limpopo ka moka le bana ba Thulare. Ke tlo leboga memo ye e hlagilego mo lehono. Ke re presidente wa EFF a tšwele pele ntho e dirilego ye ke e kgale e swantse go e be thomile kgale. Go mema magoši ka gore ke beng ba lena le bana ba bona le gone re tlile mo go tlo ipsina ra etiša le lena ra bona gore bana ba rena ba dira eng. Re a leboga le tsebeng go na le košaše e nkgahlile re sa le re ka epela gale e re tsoga gobane ge le Mandela o nyakile masole. Bana ba rena re kwa bose bana ba bannyane ba go lekana le lena le tlo ba masole a naga ye. A re ka phala ke maburu bang. Maburu ngwana bona o ba re ga pasa form 5. Ka nako e le a rena bo 1960. O ba sa ye mošomong a se ba ya bosoleng. Jwale a rena re latlhelang taba e. Bana ba santse o ithuta bosole. Naga e a berekela naga e nyaka bosole. Naga ntle le bosole gobane bosole ke molao. Naga ntle le molao ke ka lebaka le lekgono re ipona gore le ka mokgo re ne le dillo tše di sa felego. Gona jwale le ba bannyane ke lena ba thaka tša lena di rutegile di ka dišepining. E taetša gore le sana le mmereko mogolo wa go ya go ba tlhohla la ba tlhotlheletša go tlo joinela mokgatlong wa baswa ga ba tswediše pining go ne monne bogalešilo wa re tsatsele ba re ke nyaupe ba rutegile ga batemoitle ba masole gobane ba reng bana ba kgoši ba godišwa ka moka ye e tlogo ba yena ga a sešwe ga batle mo yang le o ba tlhotlheletša le tseneng khona ka khona le ba go keletšeng ba tle mo le re go rata mokgatlo le be le rate le bogoši jwa bolena jwa bogolo se ka lebala bolebala gobane mosotho ntle le culture nna re tlo re ke mang mosotho ga a sena culture re tlo re ke mang culture lena ke mang ke sekukune ga le ka tlogela sekukune ga le na le culture le se ka bala molebala sa bobedi re nyaka ditirelo re kgopela ditirelo ga se nnete gore ngwaga o thome gomme re ne le mekgatlo goba mekgatlo re tlhoke ditirelo go sa tlo go ba le se se fedilego ditirelo ga di ba gona banaka re thaba ka kudu kgotlelelang mantele o nyaka masole re thaba ka kudu ga le golela mo mekgatlong gobane ga e le rena bagoši ona kudu-kudu kgoši e kgolo e le go sekukune ga go nao ba re go mokgatlo o kwa gagwe mekgatlo ka moka ke ya gagwe e sa tšwa re tle tamiša gomme e bontšhe le ditirelo gore mokgatlo bontšha ditirelo ke tlo boela fase ke a leboga
o re ke hlabile le kuru ka lekwe ka noka ka re bula tšhidi ya nkokoto ke ipoletse nkokoto tabana kgolo sehloma ke tau ya bau ba sa kafa-kafa se le ngwana molamo kepong ba kgonte e le go thalampa makgateng a mošošo matseeng le mašwana matebela mosilekatse o re ke topa-topa moketla morwetla kgatina ba lapitse modiši seapea gobe jwang psika ke apeile ka lekwebepe pele tšhošwane tše tšhou le tše nsodi ka le ka go neelana ka go sethaganya mathebo gore la kgomo ešo le ne wene sa gona la mogale gobane la gešo lešaka kgomo le ithegile ka la mašwana matebele mašankana nkunkunyane maswatse a sopusa le batswana ba mmangwato nkontša bona ba ekwa bapedi morolo go nkga ke ena go legotha a matlapa ke se ikamela difoka ke thomo ke phaswa ke mošišimala o mošiane o re ke šišimetse tlou ya marotatlapa ke eme lapeng la mammotlo a noko le mogotlo ketekete sa modumo kgomo ya bommaselato le sa majwana ba re ge e ragile theretso e tlo e ragile le ka la gamphatlhalela latla metsing e ragile le ba matlala sethobolo ba rwala thoto mmago mohubi a matlejwana botlhole jwa tabane re ikele ka gešo bokgala ka bopedi kwa ga mmatšekelele ba re fetlola nkule a betlo ga e le moko rena bašimanyana ba dipudi maremanyana a mmutla a tšate theledi ya marota bao ba re ke ba theletše ba swara ba šele bahlako ba raphogola a ngwato o re marola la tswa go tswetla ga re mapulana a thobela a se marola dikgomo ke marola a batho ga re tswa ga mogala ka mma ka paradiswana bao ba re ka thopa kgwadi ka thopa kulwana ka thopa namana mmalaphatleng o re ge o ga makgomo ya tšhupe ga mo ikamela mokaka o bone boditse boseko jwa a tswela ditšhila ke thula re ke morekereke ya lebotsa thula re o tlotse motagamolomo e ke kgomo e tšhengwana ya lebotsa se bata go motšhaba sa thulang
Tsoha. Yo, tsoha. Juju bata masoja. Yo, tsoha. Tsoha. Oh. Amanda, thank you very much. We're now going to call upon Commissar Dr. Mqini Chwaku to come and give us the credentials. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissar. Greetings to the Deputy President of the EFF, Commissar Floyd Shivambu, members of the CCT, the delegates of the Third People's Assembly. My task is very simple. I wish to present the credentials of the Limpopo Province Third People's Assembly. Capricorn, total expected 216, present 175. Waterberg, total expected, present 102. Mopane, total expected 244, present 184. Vembe, total expected 250, present 176. Skukune, total expected 232, present 194. The RCT, total expected, present 82. Total expected of RCT is 105. Present 82. Overall expected is 1,197. Expected and present 913. Thank you very much, leadership.
Thank you very much. You never told us whether this assembly is ready. This assembly is ready. So can we take the hands if there's anyone to say something, or should we adopt the credentials? Can we get the movers? The hand there. Who's doing the roving mic? Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Frederick Ndo from Waterberg, Lephalale sub-region. I stand to move for the credentials. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have the seconder, preferably a female? Mo pele mo, ma.
Ke nna Malebogomo, Lebeleng Kumbi, Ward 15. Ke seconder movement, what the credentials.
Thank you very much. The credentials are thus adopted. We now move to the next item. We now call upon Commissar Lien Mateis, who's going to read the rules and procedures of the assembly. Thank you very much.
Tobela, Limpopo, Tobela. You have this book? Yes, we're going to start on page 4. And we're going to end at page 8. Yo, I feel so nice. Provincial People's Assembly's rules and procedures. The normal rules of the EFF meeting procedure will apply with the following additions. Number 1, only duly accredited delegates or those recognized by the steering committee will be allowed into plenary and commission sessions. Number 2, all delegates will have the right to speak in plenary, and all duly accredited participants will have the right to speak in commissions. Number 3, delegates wishing to speak must indicate their intention by raising their hands. The assembly chairperson will decide on the orders of the speaker and shall ensure that there shall be a spread of speakers. A delegate may speak in any official language. Number 6, delegates will be allowed to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes in a plenary session. The assembly chairperson shall reduce or extend this period. Number 8, delegates will be allowed to speak only once during the plenary session on a topic. Number 9, each speaker, after being recognized by the chair of the session, will stand by the microphone provided on the floor and state his or her name and the branch before speaking. Number 10, if the chairperson calls the speaker to order, the delegate will stop speaking until the chairperson authorizes her or him to continue. Number 11, the delegate wishing to raise a point of order or ask a question will do so by proceeding to a mic and raise their point of order. On a point of order being raised, Discussions shall be suspended to allow an intervention of not more than 1 minute. Thereafter, the chairperson will give his or her ruling. All motions must be proposed and seconded before they are approved for discussions. An exegy, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, motion must be submitted in writing by the proposer and seconder by the steering committee. Number 15, no business shall be allowed to be discussed which is not arised out of the reports or motions before the assembly unless agreed by the steering committee. No other points of intervention shall be allowed except those provided in the rules by the assembly. Number 17, voting in plenary will be by secret ballot. The Revolutionary Code of Conduct, in addition to the normal rules of the EFF Constitution and the Revolutionary Code of Discipline, failure to comply with the following additional rules will constitute a disciplinary offense. Number 1, delegates are expected to attend all sessions and commissions and to be punctual. Number 2, delegates must refrain from any behavior which will bring the EFF or the Provincial People's Assembly into disrepute. Number 3, documents distributed at the assembly may be confidential, and delegates are not allowed to distribute such documents to persons who are not entitled to them. Number 4, any acts of sexual harassment will be punishable. Number 5, delegates are expected to respect and obey the chairperson in all sessions of the commissions. Number 6, delegates who disobey the instructions of the chairperson of a session will be removed from the assembly venue and have their accreditation tag confiscated. Number 7, any breach of the discipline shall be reported to the steering committee, which shall bring such violations to the attention of the assembly committee. EFF delegates shall not do the following. A, no one is allowed to bring weapons at the premises of the Provincial People's Assembly. B, no one is permitted to bring alcohol or drink alcohol at the premises of the Provincial People's Assembly. All alcohol will be confiscated and it's not going to be returned to the owner. Number D, no one is permitted to enter the assembly premises under the influence of or smelling of alcohol and any other intoxicating substances. No one has permission to resort to violent acts of any kind in the premises of the assembly. F, no one shall within the premises of the assembly act in a manner that exposes others to harm or death. G, no one shall within the premises of the assembly act in a manner that provokes tension. H, no one shall act in a manner that undermines the procession of the assembly. I, no one shall within the premises of the assembly take off clothes or demonstrate anger or happiness of any kind whatsoever, or bring banners, posters, or place cards in support or against any candidate. No one shall within the premises of the assembly have a rowdy or aggressive manner. No one shall within the assembly, premises of the assembly, be permitted to convene a party or celebrate anything resolved at the assembly. No one within the premises of the assembly shall behave in an abusive and disrespectful manner towards other delegates. No cars shall bear or display any posters or materials in support or against any fighter. No T-shirt or poster displaying support for or against any fighter shall be allowed in the Provincial People's Assembly. No one without assembly accreditation will be allowed in the premises of the Provincial People's Assembly. No delegate shall be allowed to speak to the media about any issue in the assembly without authorization by the assembly committee. No cell phones should be on during the proceedings of the assembly's plenary session and commissions. No delegate will be allowed to sleep during the proceedings of the assembly plenary session and commissions. Rules of lobbying. All political and organizational preparations of the EFF Provincial People's Assemblies are regulated by the Constitution of the EFF, as well as the guidelines adopted by the relevant constitutional structure. The process seeks to ensure that all relevant structures, particularly the branches, are able to engage extensively in shaping the policy discussions and political outcomes of any assembly in accordance with the mass and democratic character of our movement. Point number 8. The following should constitute wrongful lobbying practices and unacceptable ways of influencing the election processes. Singing of songs about preferred candidates is strictly prohibited. Writing, boards, T-shirts, and any form of indication with names of candidates is strictly prohibited. Making and waving signs about candidates supported or not supported by delegates is strictly prohibited. Raising and using funds and other resources to campaign for elections, that's also prohibited. Distributing money to EFF members and structures as part of campaigning for elections is also prohibited. Production of T-shirts, posters, and other paraphernalia to promote a particular list of candidates is prohibited. Promising positions or other incentives or threatening to withhold such as a means of gaining support, prohibited. Using the media to promote a particular list of candidates and to spread malicious rumors, falsehood, or allegations against those with whom you disagree, prohibited. Leaking confidential information to the media, secret interaction with journalists with the intention to get them to write stories on internal organizational issues, or communicating internal decisions or processes to the media without due authorization, prohibited. Number 10, negative campaigning which relates to attacks of integrity of other fighters, both within the structure of the movement and in other forums. Suppressing honest and legitimate debate about the caliber of candidates in formal meetings of the movement, prohibited. Manipulating membership figures or engaging in fraudulent membership recruitment practices, prohibited. Allowing structures or individuals to condone violations of constitutional provisions and or regulations, and or failing to support such violations when they occur, prohibited. Number 13, using the offices, the resources, and the staff of the EFF or any state institution or company as machinery to promote a particular candidate, prohibited. Using violence, intimidation, threats, and coerce those who hold a different view, prohibited. Setting up structures outside the organization to promote lobbying for a particular candidate, prohibited. Number 16, convening meetings to discuss leadership issues under the false pretext that they are organized constitutional structures, prohibited. Production and distribution of documents and pamphlets not approved by the structures of the organization will not be allowed. C, in line with these rules, all members without exception must abide by the Constitution of the EFF, the rules and regulations, the Revolutionary Code of Discipline, as adopted or amended from time to time, as well as all policies and decisions properly adopted or made in terms of our Constitution. Accordingly, all EFF structures and members should ensure that these guidelines, rules, and procedures are adhered to and enforced in the run-up to and at the Provincial People's Assembly. In particular, any lobbying that violates the EFF Constitution and brings the good name, image, and integrity of the EFF into disrepute will be a subject to a disciplinary inquiry in line with the Constitution and the Code of Conduct. E, lobbying shall stop once the process of electing the new Provincial Command Team has been concluded at the Provincial People's Assembly. Once the new Provincial Command Team is elected, it becomes a duty of all members of the EFF to unite and rally behind the newly elected leadership, regardless of the preference we had before the elections. Thank you. Finishing on page 8. Thank you, fighters.
Thank you, Commissioner Lien. We're now going to take messages of support. We call upon the representatives of SAFTU in the province, the provincial convener, Dade Palawaha Palakatsela.
Thank you, Program Director. Deputy President of EFF, Commissars, the ground forces of the EFF, we are greeting you this afternoon. Amandla! Amandla! Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! Viva SAFTU, viva! Viva SAFTU, viva! Program Director, we, as SAFTU, we really appreciate the invitation, and we know for a fact that this is not the first invitation. We know very well that during your anniversary, the headquarters of SAFTU was invited. Now this should be the legacy between the SAFTU and the EFF, because as SAFTU, we are having the workers. And when we deal with the workers, we also need politicians. And I believe now that for this Congress, we believe in Limpopo, we are going to work together. When you have got your event, inviting us will always be there. And when we have our event, we know for the first time that we had an event where we have invited political parties and the EFF is there. We really appreciate. But I want to put it that as the workers, we have got serious problems. We have got serious problems with government. And as the workers, we are looking for a government which will be in a position to support the workers. And if, as the EFF, we are supporting the workers will support you. And that is what we are looking for. We know for a fact that EFF has been formed almost in 2013. But I want to show you that in 2023, possibly the EFF will be making 10 years. In terms of a theory of organizations and a theory of business, if an organization has been formed on the 10th year, you are having a challenge. One challenge is that you go up. The second challenge is that you go down. Now, as the EFF, you are having a challenge that in 2023, you need to prove to the world what is it, what you are going to happen. What is it, what is going to happen to this theory? That on the 10th year is either you sink or you go up. This is just an advice to yourself to be aware of this theory. And it is important now that the theory is coming, the date is coming. And that is a challenge. And today we came here to support you We are not only supporting the EFF, we support all the parties, but we support the parties which are pro the workers. And I still want to repeat, we are having a problem with the government of the day. And the question to the workers is that, what are you going to do as EFF? Because we are having the problem as the workers. In this Limpopo, we have been making several marches to government. We have been complaining about the CHW's workers who have been working for many years without being employed permanently. We have been having the ECD workers, those teachers who have been teaching the primary children. And the primary children, they are the foundation of the country. When the small children is a foundation. Now, the question which we are putting upon the new leadership, what are you going to do to these problems which we are raising? Comrade President, we are saying because the EFF is in the legislature, we are making sure that our request in terms of employing the CHWs permanently in also the ECD workers, and also the workers which have been working on the roads. These workers have been working for many years without being permanently employed. And therefore, we are giving the leadership which is coming this challenge to say, we need to make sure that we come together and make sure now that the workers are permanently employed. Second, we know for a fact that in any organization there are challenges. But we just want to say, now that you are coming to the Congress, this People's Assembly, you are going to elect the new leadership, but we want to say to you, the best leader, if you want to be the best leader, you must also be prepared to be led. There are many leaders who doesn't want to be led, but they want to lead. And this is the biggest problem in an organization. If you want to lead, you must be prepared to be led. But there are some people who doesn't want to be led, and that is a problem. This is what we just want to caution to the assembly, that you need to be united so that tomorrow you can be a government. And we believe, as the workers, if there is any government which is going to support the workers, I repeat, will support that government. And I want to repeat, we are having a serious problem with the ruling party. We are having a problem with the government of the day. The workers are crying because they are holding the increase of the workers. One other thing which is ironic, they've signed an agreement in 2018. Instead of implementing that agreement, they renege. They run to the court with the agreement which they've signed. Deputy President, what are you saying about this betrayal? We are calling yourself, we are calling the leadership in this province that we need to come together. You know for a fact that as the federation, we have been marching, we have been protesting, and we cannot protest alone. We need organizations which can come with us so that at the end of the day, we must make a shutdown in this country so that this government can listen. Lastly, Comrade President, We really appreciate this invitation. In future, when you do, we'll always honor. Comrade Convener, Comrade Ndozi, thank you very much. I know for a fact that we've been working together to make sure that the workers and your party, at the end of the day, they need to sing the same song. But it must not only the politics in the house. It must not about talking these issues in this house. We must make sure that we support one another truly and in reality. We are going to call another march. We are going to call a shutdown, and we would like to say in Limpopo, the time when we call a shutdown as the Federation, we need the support of the workers, we need the support of the civil society movement, and we believe that the coming leadership will be part of that action. And therefore, as SAFTU, we would like to wish you good luck. I was listening when they were reading the rules, and the rules are very clear. And we believe that everybody is going to cooperate, that at the end of the day, you produce the leadership which will be in a position to take this organization forward. We are watching you, and I want to make sure that Deputy President, come 2023, I want to see this theory. What is it? What is going to happen? Whether to go up or to go down. But we are really wishing you good luck, that at the end of the day, you need to be part, not even part, you need to be the government of the day. We are wishing you good luck. Thank you. Amanta! Amanta! Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! Viva SAFTU, viva!
Thank you very much. We're now going to call upon the representative, who is the secretary, the provincial secretary of the EFF Student Command in Limpopo, Mabilo Ondwela.
Amandla, 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 viva EFF, viva, viva EFF, viva. Long live President Julius Loma Lima, long live. Long live President Julius Loma Lima, long live. Long live Deputy President Floyd Shivambu, long live. Long live Deputy President Floyd Shivambu, long live. Amandla, aweto, viva EFF Student Command, viva. Long live EFF Student Command under the capable leadership of Rochizo Mukwebo, viva. Amandla, aweto. Thanks very much. Greetings to the leadership of the CCT, the Provincial Interim Leadership Corps, the leadership of the region, and all the delegates that are present today. Let me start by acknowledging and appreciate the beautiful work that has been done by the leadership of the province under the capable leadership of Commissar Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi and the collective. You have laid a serious role. You played a serious role in rebuilding all the branches of the EFF across the province. And we want to encourage the leadership that is going to be elected here today that you must keep the momentum flowing. We are gathering in this third Limpopo Provincial People's Assembly to reflect on the challenges facing our people, discuss policy direction, and elect leadership collective that will take the revolutionary project forward. The EFF Student Command will be embarking on a Sizofundangenkani campaign in all campuses across the province. We are therefore pleading with the leadership that is going to be elected that we want the overmost support in all campuses, and also to ensure that all the activists of the vanguard movement must not be victimized by management and the police, because they are the only solution and they are the only hope to young black youth here in South Africa. As the EFF Limpopo, we would like to wish all the delegates well in this assembly. We are hoping that you will emerge out of this conference with solutions to problems facing people and formula for the electoral growth of the EFF. And we want to assure you that come 2024, the EFF General Command is going to play a serious role in making sure that we are going to deliver the EFF as the government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're now going to call upon Dr. Komisa Mbuyiseni Ndlozi to come and introduce our senior.
Ndia ndia wemolo 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 ndia ndia wemolo wemolo Mandla. I'd like to appeal on the delegates next to the Secretary of Waterberg to come and occupy the seats that have been anointed by the traditional leadership in front here. EFF ya sebeletswa. Alala. EFF ya sebeletswa. Alala. Are alala. Alala. Are alala. Alala. EFF ashumeriwa. Alala. EFF ashumeriwa. Alala. Cheers. Alala. 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 EFF ya sebeletswa. Alala. Let us feel EFF ya sebeletswa. Alala. Chess, chess. Alala. Alala. Mandla. Mandla. Hai rule EFF, hai rule. Tata EFF, tata. Tata EFF, tata. Pili pili EFF, pili pili. Mandla. Away to. Maibuye. E Africa. Niaba Sabana. Comrades, fighters, commissars, the leaders of the regional command teams of the EFF have a very simple task again. That is very short. I'm going to request that we all stand and welcome to give the keynote address to the 3rd Provincial People's Assembly of Limpopo, a revolutionary, the greatest, most powerful pen of our generation, the Deputy President and the second in command, Floyd Nyiko Shivambu, Botatana Shivambu.
Amandla, Amandla, Amandla. Amandla. Viva EFF, viva. Viva EFF, viva. Viva EFF, viva. Oza 2024, Oza. Oza 2024, Oza. Long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live. Long live the Commander-in-Chief, long live. Thank you very much, Commissar Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, the convener of the Provincial Interim Leadership Corps here in the province, the Provincial Coordinator, Commissar Rebecca Muhlala, the CCT deployees who constituted the corps in the Provincial Interim Leadership, which was constituted by the Central Command Team, and the leadership of SAF2 of the Student Command, the Hoshi that came here to bless this gathering. But most importantly, yourselves, delegates, and all of us as ground forces of the EFF. Let us take this opportunity on behalf of the now more than 1 million members of the EFF to congratulate the Provincial Interim Leadership Corps of Limpopo for delivering this Provincial People's Assembly, the third one here in the province. We want to thank Commissars Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, Commissar Rebecca Muhlala, Commissar Jeanette Komani, Commissar Timbim Sane, Lien Mateis, Commissar Dr. Mgcini Twaku, who we sent to this province to be based here since the beginning of the year to assist in rebuilding the organization. And they literally relocated from their respective provinces to come and stay here in the province to build the organization. As a result, we are speaking today, the province of Limpopo has got more than 124,000 members of the EFF due to the effort, and that comes against the background that all the branch command teams, the regional command teams, and the provincial command team were dissolved. But also the EFF is present in more than 95% of wards here in the province due to the work which was led by these commissars. But also the PILC, under its leadership of the province of the EFF here, has built very good relations with religious institutions, the churches, pastors. It has built very good relations with the traditional leadership, as was demonstrated here where even the Queen Mother herself came to bless this occasion. And during the course of this People's Assembly, we are going to be joined by traditional leaders from different sectors. Also, the province has built good relations with organized workers in the form of SAF2. And SAF2 must, in the current politics of South Africa, be supported because COSATU is a sell-out federation. Workers must be encouraged to leave all those COSATU unions. We must be unapologetic about it. SATU is a sell-out organization. SAMU is a sell-out organization. We should purposefully mobilize workers to leave COSATU and associate with progressive unions that will represent their interest without fear, without favor, without looking for positions. But if you go to COSATU, all those leaders, they are all raising their hands to be elected into the National Executive Committee of the ANC because that is their destination. So they do not want to upset their master because they are always expecting to be fed from the table of the master. So COSATU does not constitute the future of the revolution that we're in pursuit of as the economic freedom fighters. So it must die, and there must be a vacuum that is filled by a progressive union that represents the workers much more meaningfully. COSATU currently and all its unions is not a progressive instrument in the hands of the working class. So we commend that there is beginning to be now clearly defined relations that are being built between the EFF and organized workers, traditional leaders, churches, community-based organizations. I understand part of our guest as well is the representatives of the taxi associations, which is a commendable work which the Provincial Leadership Corps has done. But amidst acknowledging the work that was done by the commissars, we should thank all of you fighters as ground forces for the EFF for doing an excellent job thus far. In other areas, when BCTs are dissolved and RCTs are dissolved and PCT is dissolved, in some instances we are faced with resistance. And as we said in the previous interventions here in the province, there is no one who resisted the guidance and the wisdom of the Central Command team as to what is to be done in this province. So all of you went on the ground, you admitted that there were difficulties that happened that led to the dissolution of all the structures here in the province. And of course, the Central Command team took a correct decision to dissolve all the branch command teams, the RCTs, the PCT, because as compared to 2016, the overall support of the EFF here in the province, in almost all the local municipalities, declined. And we must be honest about that. This Provincial People's Assembly, other than electing leadership, which is just a small component of the assembly, should reflect as to why did we decline the votes of the EFF in all the municipalities except in Elias Mutswaledi, Greater Tsanin, and Collins Chaban. Because all other sub-regions reduced not just the votes of the EFF, even the number of public representatives that represented the EFF in all those municipalities. And the CCT was correct to characterize the decline of the EFF support and votes as amounting to counter-revolution. This revolutionary economic emancipation struggle that we're engaged in necessarily needs us to grow every day. It needs the organization to quantitatively and qualitatively grow every day. So the number of people who support the EFF must always increase every day. And that must be demonstrated. But if you check what has been the pattern here in the province, from 2014, 2016, 2021, even 2019, the province was the first candidate to could surpass the 20% mark, but was still hovering around the 16% support in the province. Whilst the ruling party gets 75% of the vote here in the province. It's worse in some of the sub-regions, in Vembe, in Tulamela, and Makado. The ruling party gets an upward of 80% of the vote. When we've got an organization that says we represent the interest of the masses of our people. Why is it that we cannot convince as many people as possible to come and vote for the EFF? If what we have characterized ourselves is a true characterization, that we are an economic emancipation movement that represents the downtrodden, that represents the homeless people, the hopeless masses of our people. Because in this province, this is home of the highest levels of unemployment, one of the highest levels of poverty, of hopelessness. If we say as the EFF were the voice of all those people, Why are we not persuading them to go and vote for the EFF in their numbers? Why is the ruling party still in power and even growing support when the conditions of our people are not improving? That is the question that must be answered by all of us here in the assembly. If they told you that you are coming to the assembly to just vote for leadership, for this or that, they misled you. The primary purpose of a provincial people's assembly is to deliberate on what have been the nature, form, content, and character of our struggles thus far. That is why you get a political report, organizational report, so that you can reflect on what happened in the immediate past. And immediately after that, then you must chart a way forward. That is why when you have been chosen by your branch to be a delegate, if you are a delegate from the RCT, you can't be going to commissions to ask questions or to lodge complaints there. You can't be saying that I'm coming from Litaba and Mamaila, there's a problem of roads, what do we do about it? You must be coming with solutions. You can't be coming to say that you are coming from Mahalakwena, the entire town is full of potholes. You can't be complaining that in Tubatse, there is no relationship, none whatsoever, between the so many mines that are there and the developments that are supposed to develop our people. You must be coming with solutions. So before you even think of raising your hand and opening your mouth to make an intervention, you should have thought of what is the solution. We must be sharing the best experiences of how best do we organize ourselves in the wards that we have got to win. In Waterberg, here in Capricorn region. The delegates from those branches must say that what got us to win the ward are the following things. So that the entire province has got an appreciation of the diligence, the patience, the work that is needed for all of us to win our wards. A people's assembly is not a platform of complaints and questions. It's not a platform just to vote for leaders. It is a platform where we come with concrete solutions. And of course, before we go to deliberate on all of those, we're going to reflect as to just where do we come from. The leadership that is going to be elected, I've already said that you are going to hand over an organization that has got 124,000 members, is present in more than 95% of wards in the province. We're going to hand over to the new leadership an organization that has built meaningful and powerful relationships with community-based organizations, with trade unions, with traditional leaders, with churches. That is what we're going to hand over this organization to the new leadership that is going to be elected here. What that automatically says is that you cannot play with this organization. You cannot treat this organization in a factional and divisive manner after we have built it thus far. I would think that perhaps part of the decisions that we must have to encourage the CCT to adopt is that after this very extensive and patient intervention here in the province, whoever is going to be provincial command team, if they decline the votes of the EFF, we must not just dissolve the structure. We must also discontinue their membership of the EFF. They must leave as members of the EFF. We can't spend a lot of resources, lot of time, building an organization and people come and preside it only to take us back. Our experience, fighters, is that sometimes when you make strategic interventions and decisively intervene on people who do not add value to the organization, it grows faster. So there are people who think that, no, if I'm not there, the organization is going to die. In our short-lived experience, 9 years of existence of the EFF, in many instances, the people who sometimes live by themselves or through the internal process, they create space for the organization to grow faster. So anyone who is going to be accepting a leadership responsibility here today must be aware that if you play with this organization, if you do not add value to this organization, if you decline our vote, you might as well bid farewell to the membership of the EFF. Because non-performance, non-delivery in the organization is also a form of ill discipline. And that is what we must continue to and start to hold each other accountable for. You know, in the founding manifesto of the EFF, when the first sentence that characterizes the EFF says that the EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, is a radical and militant economic emancipation movement that brings together revolutionary, fearless, radical and militant activists, workers' movements, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, and lobby groups under the umbrella of pursuing the struggle for economic emancipation. And then it emphasizes that the EFF is a radical, leftist, anti-capitalist, and anti-imperialist movement with an internationalist outlook anchored by popular grassroots formations and struggles. That is the character of the EFF. And I want to briefly speak about that we must not just have presence and influence within ourselves as structures of the EFF, where it is just us as moving crowds of the EFF without being present in community struggles and other organizations. So when we had the Provincial Interim Leadership Call with all RCT elected members, I appreciated that of all the apologies that were given there was a legitimate apology of a fighter from an RCT who says he is a chairperson of a school governing body and he is presiding over that. Those are the type of apologies we must be accepting in meetings of the EFF. That this person is leading the program of workers somewhere, therefore cannot attend the meeting, but will abide by the resolutions of that meeting. The EFF must be found everywhere, must be relevant in all spheres of society. You must be relevant in your communities. If there is traditional councils that are elected, you must participate there. If there is church boards that are elected, you must participate there. Everywhere, in all the school governing bodies, in all community-based organizations and formations, the EFF must always be represented. But if your only role as an activist of the EFF, as a branch leader of the only thing that you do is just to be a member of the EFF and only dealing with EFF issues without being present in other programs and interventions, you are not adding as much value to the organization. We need as many people as possible to be involved in community engagement and struggles of our people. We are 124,000 members of the EFF here in the province. In 2019, the ruling party got 1.1 million votes, which amounted to 75% of the vote here in the province. So between now and 2024, Komesambu is saying, If out of these 124,000 members, we build revolutionary activists, organizers, agitators, educators of society on the ground, and ask of them to persuade between now and 2024, each member of the EFF persuading at least 10 voters. Just 10 voters. It means we're going to take over this province. It's possible to do so. It is possible to defeat the ANC. There is nothing that is capacity of the ANC which we cannot do far much better ourselves. We can bring about meaningful service delivery here. What more do we want, fighters? I mean, the Queen Mother comes and says to you that you are now the soldiers that must take on the baton and fight. You must bring everyone. Go and fetch these people in the shebeens. Go and fetch them wherever they are. What more inspiration do you want? Almost all the church leaders here in the province say we're praying for the success of the EFF. What more inspiration that you're looking for? I'm sure as well even the traditional healers are saying that they are predicting that we must get to a correct direction. What more do you want? But the appeal that we want to make here is that, and something which perhaps defined a lot of the structures that were dissolved at regional and provincial level, is that you must grow up and take full responsibility of all the work of the organization. You can't be a regional leader that says, we can't do anything, we were not given canvassing sheets. No, the reason why we declined in November is because the CCT employees did not give us canvassing sheets. Canvassing sheets is a paper. And you, at that time, you accepted to lead a region. And then head office must move from Johannesburg to come to Makwarela, to Sibasa, to Malamlela, to give you a canvassing sheet to speak to people. You can't be leading the EFF if all the time you are going to be complaining. Because we picked up in the beginning of the rebuilding process when we were assessing elections that fighters were saying, we did not have transport money to move in their wards. Branch chairpersons, even members of RCTs, that my ward is so vast. So I needed petrol money to move from this part of the village to the other village. And you call yourself a leader of the EFF. Who is complaining about the vastness of your ward? First, the entire province is not vast, by the way. This province is not vast. It's possible to could have meaningful meetings in all the regions in one day here in Limpopo. But you still have, at 9 years of existence, people who are still complaining about the vastness of wards and of regions. If you are going to be complaining about the vastness of your wards, of regions of the province, you are then in the wrong organization. You are not the correct soldier who is going to be forming part of this fighting army towards 2024. We only need people who will begin to appreciate that you must do everything else in your power. Being elected into a leadership responsibility is not a form of employment. There is no salary for being an RCT member or PCT member. When you accept that responsibility, you must know that even if you stay in Musina or you stay in Tabazimbi, we can send you anywhere in the province, any day, and expect you to be there to do work of the organization. You can't say, no, I cannot go because I do not have resources every day. It means you are in this thing for a wrong purpose. It means you are in this thing for a wrong purpose. The other side, they had a provincial conference here in the province. And then they elected leadership, and they elected a provincial secretary from Vembe. And his first interview, he says that I was part of the youth league, which was led by the commander-in-chief, which was dissolved. So he basically says that the leadership of the EFF has been very senior to us for a very long time. They even dissolved us when we were useless in Vembe. I remember we dissolved the ANC youth league structure in Vembe that time because it was useless. What will get the EFF to be defeated by the ANC that is led by such people? Because it's not like there is anything that is significant about the entire leadership collective of the ANC. But yourselves, because we sometimes treat ourselves as children. Even when we meet with those people, the premier, can we please have a photo with you? People whom you are supposed to remove from power. You are still fascinated by them. Majority of those people are far much junior to Fighter Mapolo here. He is part of us now. What more legitimation do you want to take over this province? There is no sound reason why we can't take over this province. So fighters, when we go to commissions, all of us, let us reflect, and we must be guided by the principles of organizational democracy that are in the constitution of the EFF. You see, in the EFF, we've got the 7 cardinal pillars for economic freedom in our lifetime. Those are the policy, non-negotiable principles and commitments of what we will do and what we seek to achieve collectively as a movement. But as an organization, we have got also 7 principles of organizational democracy. Those constitute the glue that holds ourselves together. And as leaders, you do not have to be taught about that. They must live within you. To appreciate that one, we must always have elected and collective leadership. Collective leadership means that at all times you must be guided by the collective. Even if you are going to take a correct decision alone, you must always consult with the collective. So don't be a superstar leader who says that, no, as a chair, I've taken a decision, I've dissolved that branch there. I went to the sub-region there, I realized they were misbehaving, so I dissolved them, I even charged the members without the collective. You can't do that. Everything else must be based on the collective wisdom as to what do we do, when, and how. That is what guides the organization. But also to appreciate that at all times, we must always ascribe to the powers of the National People's Assembly. We must, as part of the principles, be guided by democratic centralism. Democratic centralism that says that the reason why it's democratic centralism is that it must be a democratic process of engagement first. So that when we take decisions, they are now binding on all of us. And in between, when we can consult all of us in assemblies, in general and people's assemblies, the decisions of upper structures are binding on all lower structures. And once decisions have been taken, your right to disagree does not matter anymore. So your right to differ dwindles into insignificance. So there are people who, because they were not elected in the regional people's assemblies, they think that without them, the organization must not go ahead. That must not be allowed. All of us must be loyal to our organization. But also we must be guided by mandates, accountability, and reporting. The most important thing about, in the constitution of the EFF, it even says that you cannot attend a meeting of the EFF and leave the meeting without knowing what is expected from you. So every meeting you attend, as a BCT member, as an ordinary member of the organization, as an RCT member, as a PCT member, when they say it's closure, now you must say, what is expected of us? What do we do between now and the next meeting? And what are we going to report about? That is what is encouraged of the organization. But also it encourages criticism, constructive criticism and self-criticism. We should honestly reflect about ourselves all the time. Are we making progress or are we not making progress? Because without such, we will always heap praises on ourselves. We are government in waiting. Hey, we are a government in waiting. Government in waiting with 14% of the vote. Where have you seen government that is considered with 14% of the vote? And your opponent is at 75%. We need to be very honest about self-reflection so that we can come up with clear solutions of how we move forward. But also the organization calls on all of us to have discipline and to work hard at all times. It calls on all of us to have selflessness, love for the organization and love for one another. We must demonstrate love for one another as an organization, as activists of the EFF. It must bother you. What are fighters going to eat this Christmas? When you are stockpiling alcohol and piles of alcohol for you to drink with your friends, you must think that in my sub-region there is 31 wards in a Tubatsi Fetahum. Do all these fighters have at least something basic? That is what should characterize all of us. So fighters, we are handing over to you today an organization that is intact. We are handing over a very powerful instrument. And you are not going to destroy this organization. You are not going to destroy the organization by being a factionalist. You are not going to destroy this organization by trying to maintain lobby groups after the PPA has come to an end. Every time you open your mouth, you want to always put into position people who supported you here. You, of course, were engaged in lobbying and persuading each other as to who must lead where. But once leadership is elected, all of those must come to an end. And then we build one organization. Our aim is very simple. Our aim of the 124,000 members of the EFF, let each and every one of those take 10 voters to the voting station in 2024. Then we have taken over this province. You can't call yourself a fighter. If you can't call yourself a fighter, you can't call yourself a revolutionary if you can't persuade 10 people. Whether you are an ordinary member, if you fail to persuade 10 people, then you are not part of the collective. Let's go to engage in all the commissions, come out with proper outcomes as to how do we fight to achieve economic freedom in our lifetime. We're going to be here throughout the entire assembly. Thank you very much. Amanda! Viva EFF, viva! Welele wenyamazani yole. Welele wenyamazani. Welele wenyamazani. Mbuyiseni.
Amanda, thank you very much, DP. Thank you very much. Without any further ado, we are now. Thank you very much. We're now going to go straight to the organizational report to be presented by the provincial coordinator, Commissar Rebecca Mutlala. EFF ya berekelwa. Halala. EFF ya berekelwa. Halala. Oh halala. Halala. Oh halala. Halala. Amanda, we're going to take the political report first, led by Commissar Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi. Doctor.
Thank you very much. Nikatel impela mafighter. That is why it's called the struggle. Inzima lendlela funa ama fighter. Ibatla batho ba strong, not sleepists. But ishtebo roko mo lu voter. Ba ipotsa mar voter ning. Khane ba tšea nomination ning. Wa ye Kenana Ramaphosa o romile batho ka mo. We're here to educate one another. Deputy President of the EFF, Commissar Floyd Shivambu, Commissars of the Central Command Team, Her Majesty Queen of Bapedi Kingdom, Tlhapogadi a Phahla, Mr. Letladi Moloto, representative of Mongambu, Khoshi Khabo Moloto III, Prince Lawrence Leboro, representing Khoshi Kibi of Rakibi Royal Council, Khoshi Mafefe Tobejani II of Mafefe Royal Council, Mafefe. Salaga kidimiswa ke tonki kwa Mafefe. Khoshiradi Muremadi Mutapo of Bakhaga Bamutapo. Miss Mahlaku Sekhoa of Bakhaga Bamutapo. Delegation of the South African Federation of Trade Union. Delegation of the Limpopo National Taxi Association. Delegation of the Provincial Student Command. Former President of the EFF Student Command, delegates of the Limpopo People's Assembly, ground forces of our beloved movement. Again, Deputy President, when we have a former mayor, we want to brag about it amongst us. Let's really also salute fighter Mapolo. Allow me to open our political reflection today with an analogy from Karl Marx's Enlightenment Brumarie. In his essay, Karl Marx is analyzing the 19th century revolutionary developments in Europe with a special attention on France and Napoleon Bonaparte. Marx sought to demonstrate how the class struggle in France created circumstances that made it possible for a grotesque mediocrity to play a hero's part, referring to Napoleon Bonaparte. It is in his essay that he made the crucial observation that our people make history but not under the conditions of their choosing. But it is the analogy he uses, comparing class struggle to an old mold, takadu. He indicated that revolutionary forces would take parliamentary power, and this power would deepen people's demand for an overthrow of the capitalist establishment. Then he wrote in Hamlet style that Europe will leap forward from its seat and exultantly exclaim, "Well grabbed, old mole." A mole, as we all know, digs deep into the ground, and when it is disappeared into tons and tons of soil, one can assume that it is over with it. Underground, the mole remains alive, navigating the intricacies of stone roots and deeply buried carcasses in the belly of the earth. But finally, the mole emerges out of the ground, and we realize that it was alive at all times. It comes out bigger and at times better than it was when it went deep into the ground. Karl Marx is saying that the class struggle, just like the mole, you will think that it is defeated. But decades and decades after, the oppressed come out, launching a revolution, a theater of changing the conditions of the working class. We hold this assembly in a time in the world when the class struggle seems to suffer defeat after defeat. Globally, the thought since the fall of the Soviet Union, forces have been disintegrated, disoriented, and at times completely defeated. A situation of hopelessness engulfed those who try to work on a radically alternative option to the capitalist establishment. However, like a mole, the class struggle submerged into the ground, and the ruling class continues in the assumption that, in Fukuyama's words, history has ended, and we keep revolving around capitalism as the only game in town. In our country, 10 years ago, all left formations seemed to be eroding, collapsing, suffering internal strife and defeat. No other event signified this fact than the defeat of the workers in Marikana, the disintegration of the trade union movement, and the Radical Congress Youth League. When the government of the day massacred workers who were asking for 12,500 living wage, it was clear the mole was submerged into the ground and the underground. When the ruling party expelled the radical socialist leadership of the Congress Youth League, it was clear that they had assumed that they had killed them, buried them deep into the ground, much to the satisfaction of the colonial capitalist establishment. It is perhaps in this context that we must understand the words of the Commander-in-Chief when he explained the Central Command Team decision to disband our structures in Limpopo. The CIC said, the electoral performance in Limpopo in the local government elections of 2021 signified that we are taking the Cope route, in that we had reached a ceiling and we're now on a decline. The decline is a serious dent on the possibility of the return of the old mole, digging out of the ground for a revolutionary confrontation with the capitalist establishment. We must reiterate unequivocally and without any fear of contradiction that the province of Limpopo is key in the EFF's revolutionary war against the establishment. It is key even in the general mission to launch the tectonic shifts in favor of the working class. Needless to say, it is this province has been strategic focus of the establishment because for many generations it has been a breeding ground for radical forces for the struggles of our people. Many leaders who have been catalysts to the national political direction of the revolution. We recall the names of Charlotte Maxeke, the fearless feminist and priest who was born in Garamokgopa, and that of Sefako Makgatho wa Gamphahlele, whose tenure as president of the SANNC saw its radicalization by throwing its weight behind the 1920s workers' strikes, particularly in the mining sector. The names of the treason trialists, Elias Moretsili, Wagasikukuni, and the Rivonia trialist Elias Motsoaledi. The titans of the University of the North 12-Fullest Compass, now called Unilim, Abram Tiro, up to the Lion of the North, Peter Mokaba, to mention a few. It must therefore come as no surprise that the establishment knew that the left forces would rely on this very province towards the 2012 Congress of the ANC for its total shift towards a socialist path. That is why the neoliberal National Treasury, through the then Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan, placed this province under financial administration. Our generation knows this to be true, for itself is a great beneficiary of revolutionaries who come from this province. The Malema-Shivambu combination. We must perhaps say a few words about this combination, because if we do not, comrades, speak about our leaders, then we allow the narrative of the establishment and our enemies to dominate about our leadership. This leadership was part of a collective of activists who adopted the mission of economic freedom in our lifetime as the center of those of which was the objective, at the center of which was the objective of total decolonization through expropriation of land without compensation and the nationalization of mines. The two objectives that threaten the white monopoly capital establishment the most. What we must record in this assembly about them is that they had an opportunity to sell out. They had an opportunity to compromise on the mission for various positions of government and in the ANC. They had an opportunity to tone down and to stop being irritating mosquitoes in Rupert's tent. Many of them, many who were with them in composing and campaigning about this mission, are selling out as we speak in Nazareth. The dominant narrative is that this combination are Gucci revolutionaries in an attempt to discredit their legitimacy and commitment to our people's struggle. But give me one SACP communist from Mantashe to David Masondo who has passed the test of not selling out that the Malema-Shivambu combination has passed. All of them combined, they are mere butter, toughest wannabe revolutionaries who are self-driven careerist hypocrites lining up as we speak to serve alongside the #1 Medara of the workers in South Africa. None of them, none of those South African careerist party, butter, toughest wannabe revolutionaries speak about the total collapse of the capitalist establishment anymore. Our people must see them for who they are: charlatans, imposters, and cowards who have sold the Communist Manifesto into a careerist manifesto and the Freedom Charter into a cheater's charter. We see them every day in Parliament, DP, defending the Benderas, the murderers, and racist capitalist establishment. Some even have the audacity to defend the reactionary anti-black and anti-working class treasury policies and systems. Most recently, we saw them protecting the corrupt and shielding a constitutional delinquent Ramaphosa who abused power on the Phala saga. These imposter revolutionaries are nothing compared to our leadership. Our leaders were offered not only positions of leadership in cabinet, but even the possibility of inheriting the entire ANC and SACP. We know that Shivambu was promised the rise in the SACP, that he's going to even be the future General Secretary of the SACP. We know they tried to stop him from joining the Congress Youth League at the National Conference when back then they began in 2008. Some of those toughies wearing imposter revolutionaries who were contesting leadership in the top 6 positions of the ANC today discouraged them. Yet today, they want to be champions of the same ANC they used to dismiss as irredeemably bourgeoisie. History, world history will record the Malema-Shivambu combination as a signature of selfless commitment to the struggle because they refused to compromise on the mission of economic emancipation and they were cast out. All security institutions of the state were sent on them, from SARS, from the NPA, for the SAPS, with the objective to bury them alive and turn them into hobos. However, like an old mole, they re-emerged and gave us this important vehicle of our movement on cogent principles to ensure that the class struggles attains a tectonic change and a tectonic opportunity against the establishment. Never ever as a fighter forget those facts. Never. Our leaders are revolutionaries who have passed the most important test. They never chose to rise in the ANC or the SACP over the revolutionary objectives of the total economic and decolonized emancipation. In their name, in the spirit that engulfs them, we propel you, Limpopo, to turn against your ways. Accept the new day, this day of revival. Accept the new spirit, and never again drop the votes of the EFF in the province or withdraw from the daily struggles of our people. The establishment is totally scared of the Malema-Shivambu combination because they know these are the leaders our people have been waiting for. These are the leaders who will not compromise on the radical transformation of society in exchange for friendship with white capitalists. You cannot buy them. You cannot seduce them. You cannot divorce them from the plight of our people. They will never choose personal advancement over revolution. They are disciplined forces of the left, and we have this province to thank for such quality leadership. Above all, they are principal ground forces. They can mobilize, agitate, organize, and build. This country has not seen anything outside the Congress movement in the entire history of our politics like them. They can only be approximated to the very people who initiated the Congress movement. We select them because it is consistent with Marx's insight from the Enlightenment Brumarie. The role of individuals is important in history. It is impossible to speak about the Russian Revolution without Vladimir Lenin. Must never be shy to theorize the personal impact of our leadership. We must never shy away on media platforms everywhere. We must put it on the historic public record that Tina sikhokelwa ngama-revolutionary and they have passed the most important test. It's very important. The Brumarie is about false heroes who pose in revolutionary situations but are only there to sustain the status quo. Marx makes an important and famous observation that great figures or events appear twice in history, first as tragedy and second as a joke. But this Karl Marx did not mean to say history repeats itself. History does not repeat itself. In fact, what he exposes is the total opposite, that people always try to mimic history. They always try to repeat history, but these repeats only result in a sad joke. He tells us that a proper critique will lead and reveal that what appears as a historic shift was actually not a shift at all. All attempt at social change face this reality, a defeat that coils back in the morning after when all returns to normalcy. Far on in the record of the earth demonstrates how the anti-colonial struggle that led to the independence like post-apartheid suffered the very defeat. He writes about the post-apartheid or post-colonial leaders and says, and this is important, comrades, he says, when this caste has vanished, devoured by its own contradictions, it will be seen that nothing new has happened since independence was proclaimed, and that everything must be started from scratch. The changeover will not take place at the level of the structure set up by the bourgeois during its reign, since the caste has done nothing more than to take over unchanged legacy of the economy, the thought, and the institutions left by the colonialists. It's a very difficult thing and maybe even tragic to accept that those theaters of people's power with tens of thousands of people lost their lives have amounted to nothing. Yet this is deeply true because the economic conditions of the black oppressed remain the same since the days they say the apartheid has ended. Our founding manifesto, DP, which we adopted in 2013, has the following tragic words to say about this very point. Those who fought the gallant wars of resistance did so to resist forced dispossession of land, wealth, livestock, and heritage, which they had cherished and inherited from the forebears. More than 350 years later, the war of resistance has not been won. And the battles that have fought almost represent nothing, because 20 years after the attainment of formal political freedom, the black people of South Africa still live in absolute mass poverty, are landless, their children have no productive future, they are mistreated, and they are looked down upon in a sea of wealth. There is no break, comrades, between apartheid and post-apartheid. There is no new apartheid or a return of apartheid. The 1980s cannot be repeated. We are not faced with apartheid. The hard truth is that the revolution was defeated in 1994. But like a mole, it has been underground since 1994, the revolution has been underground, awaiting a generation that will ride on its promise of a thoroughgoing change. In the Brumarie warn, Marx warned us that the social revolutions can no longer borrow poetry from the past, but from the future. It cannot begin with itself before stripping away the superstitions about the past. The former revolutionaries required recollections of past history in order to smoother their own contents. But the 19th century must let the dead bury the dead. There the phrase went beyond the content. Here the content goes beyond the phrase. This is true for us. The anti-colonial and anti-apartheid movements of the 20th century DP relied on heroes, poetry, and literary narratives of the wars of colonial resistance. They suffered the same defeats our ancestors have suffered. Their poetry must now give way to a new poetry. The post-apartheid African socialist revolution needs to strip itself away from superstitions. Let us allow the dead to bury the dead. All superstitions must be stripped away. The ANC has no revolutionary value. Struggle credentials. It has even false opposites internally. There is no Zuma on one side and Ramaphosa on the other. That is a false opposite. From Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, Ramaphosa, bayafana bonke. It's cosmetic differences. Karl Marx explained the idea of the evocation of the past and how it can be used to abuse the present status quo. He wrote that just when people seem engaged in revolutionizing themselves and things, in creating something that has never existed before, precisely in such revolutionary crises, they anxiously conjure up the spirit of the past and their service and borrow the names, the battle cries, and the costumes in order to present a new scene of world history in time-honored disguise with borrowed language. The awakening of the dead in those revolutionaries served the purpose of glorifying new struggles, not of parodying the old, of magnifying the given task of the imagination, not recoiling from its solution in reality, of finding once more the spirit of the revolution, not making the ghost walk among us. Let the comprador, komtsotsi bourgeoisie, elite, and the reactionary mimicry of revolution and revolutionary identity be exposed and isolated in favor of a genuine revolution. Let a new poetry rise where content goes beyond the phrase. The liberation movement has been defeated. It did not even have content for total economic emancipation. They have since been exposed as myopic phrase mongerers. A historic window of opportunity now presents itself, and the left must put aside all petty egos, unite over a common program for the total triumph over the comprador and komtsotsi parasitic ANC caste and its white monopoly establishment. Fanon showed us that in underdeveloped countries, the bourgeoisie, please listen to this, the nationalist bourgeoisie should not be allowed to find the conditions necessary for its existence and its growth. In other words, the combined efforts of the masses, led by the party, who are highly conscious and armed with revolutionary principles, ought to bar way to this useless and harmful caste. Fanon was dismissing the idea that in post-colonial societies, the developments of productive forces have to be led by nationalist bourgeoisie. Fanon demonstrates, as we have seen in our own post-apartheid experience, there is no genuine black bourgeoisie. The white capitalist establishment has denied any possibility of independent black bourgeoisie from emerging. Instead, they have sustained and rewarded the comprador black business clique, which, whilst its advanced komtsotsi detachment has relied on state tenders to pursue myopic, greedy, selfish interests. Fanon says the struggle against the bourgeoisie in the underdeveloped countries is far from being a theoretical one. It is not concerned with making out its condemnation or as laid down by the judgment of history. The national bourgeoisie of the underdeveloped countries must not be opposed because it threatens the slow down the development and total harmoniousness of a nation. It must simply be opposed because literally they are good for nothing. A true alternative has come. We, the EFF, are the opposition to the business as usual currently prevailing in the ruling party. In Nasrec, comrades, is a festival of ghosts and carcasses mimicking a revolution. Nothing will come out of that thing for the advancement of our people. Only more death and more ghosts. It is a graveyard of politics. It's a graveyard politics. Let them die. Let the dead bury the dead. Let us have confidence on the historic opportunity in the Malema-Shivambu combination. We have a true quality and revolutionary leadership, alternative that will shift our people to a better position against the oppressed. Malema, Shibambu, these are the heroes of the proletariat. Small minds will think I'm speaking about individuals. No. In the Malema Shibambu combination, we are speaking about the multiplier. The combination is a set of ideas, a collective spiritual identity, and a political praxis for an alternative radical socialist movement across the country. You can't kill this combination. You can't imprison this combination. They've already multiplied into million flowers every day from Cape to Cairo, Morocco to Madagascar. This combination, comrades, by the Malema Shibambu combination, I mean you fighters. You are the Malema. You are the Shibambu of your ward, of your factory, of your school, of your village, of your university, of your town. Let the revolutionary fever take over this country. Like them, never ever sell out. Never be seduced by positions in government. Ba iba paletse ka moka DP. Iba hlule bonke. It is in this spirit that we have been breathing since January. We have been engaged in a process that is culminating, comrades, in this day, in this hall, the Ngwako Ramatlhodi Sports Complex, right here in Seshiro, Polokwane. This is the day of revival. Tsoseletso. To properly appreciate the deep meaning of this, let us borrow analogy from scripture in the parable of the sower, DP. Over the month since January, we have traveled across the province, sowing seeds of revolutionary consciousness and discipline. Like the farmer of the parable of the sower, we have spread seeds everywhere. Some seeds have fallen on the road that is full of a lot of rocks with no soil. People and cars will come and drive on top of them. The birds will come and eat the seed, and they will not yield any fruits. Some seed has fallen on rocky ground with little soil, and it will die. Some seeds have fallen on soil which contains thorns, the tlantabu. It will come out, but it will not stay. It will not last, and it will die much quicker. Some seeds have fallen on good ground. Here, it will grow DP and give us 1,000 crops, which carry more seeds and becomes into 1,000 and million crops. The seed represents the revolutionary message, fighter, about what the EFF stands for, what it seeks to achieve. It represents the need to be hard workers, to be disciplined, and live in accordance with our revolutionary code of discipline, and always be found on the side of the working class. What time it is? It is time to return to the ground. The seed are the many branches DP we have established, and the teachings of how these branches must always have a ward-based program to fight for water, roads, 24-hour clinics with medication, free quality health care, free early childhood development, electricity, and to end corruption and GBV. Right here in this hall, some have come because they simply want to elect leaders so and so. They've been mobilized in the name of this and that slate. But slate politics are like the seeds that has fallen on the road, which people will step on and reach positions in our organization. These are members of members, DP, and such people are only active during conferences. Ukababon. Eh, by my shame. How to date your assembly? Mawe. Branches that are not about giving so and so a position. Such branches, DP, are only alive during assemblies. You will never hear about them anymore until the next assembly. They are full of faction-oriented fighters who are here in the EFF for themselves. They are here for the PR seats or the legislature positions. You will never see them, DP, during door-to-door. You will never see them in the community protest about water or electricity. Our people where they live don't know them. Marikamo rikwakabona. The seeds that fall in good soil represent those who are here because what made them join the EFF is the situation in their villages and communities. They are here because they are hungry for change. They are here to find solutions for the poor and the black oppressed masses of our people. No amount of tiredness is going to disrupt them from gathering and finding a political program to make sure that our people are free from the thugs of the ANC. These people will never wait for anyone, DP, to tell them to mobilize in oppressed communities. They will never ask you for a canvassing sheet, DP. You don't have to tell them to fight for the betterment of their communities. They are not members of members. They are members of the EFF. And they know our struggle is to transform our communities. If the plight of our people does not burn you, if the situation in our villages does not make you to want to take the establishment down, ask yourself, fighters, have I accepted the seeds? In this day of revival, we say to you, open your heart and allow the fire of the revolution to enter. Never forget the seed, the message. You must grow, produce fruit with more seeds. You must be like Malema and Shivambu in your communities. The Malema Shivambu cannot be given KFC, DP, or money to vote in assemblies of the EFF. Ukasibareki. When you join EFF enjani, urekuwa so, ulatella man, because our leadership cannot be bought. Marwena warekuwa. Which EFF have you joined? Urekuwa so, because in the EFF is a leadership known for never being up for sale. Ulatelletse man. Ufana nobani. Unguhu wahwe. They will never allow for such an important gathering to become about careerism, DP. Bonkheteng. Ba re tshwere ka masiu mo ka hara di WhatsApp group. Re kwela re thabile today. Assembly tla feta. You'll never hear from them again. Because never sanyaki wena. Awa bakinyakela careerism. They will ensure that our generation, the true members who have accepted the seed, they will give us a leadership that will fly the flag of the EFF in every corner of this province. They will give us a leadership that is not lazy, DP. A leadership that will never say our villages are too far. Be very careful of those who say Rakibi ke gole, who say Chakuma is far, Onyerere is not reachable. Stay away from those who will not arrive in Nkomo or Mahloele. Ask yourself, will this person travel 30 kilometers on a gravel road to reach and help and deliver our people from oppression? Will they go and hold meetings under trees with the donkeys going all over, just so they can spread the seeds of our revolution? Let us isolate imposters who think only about themselves and they are active because they have legislature positions. When they do not have these positions, they disappear. Some of them even leave the EFF. Or worse, when they lose a leadership contest, they simply resort to disruption. Be careful of those ANC tendencies, comrades, with money bags. There are money bags going around, DP. Don't allow anyone to insult your intelligence. They think they can buy an EFF conference. They must think again. They must think again. If we allow our conferences to be up for sale, DP must never allow that. Take exception. Uzqhenye. Be proud that you are EFF and Aurekui. We must unite against infiltrators of money bags. The couch le matras ya kitima ka mo ka EFF ka ya matras ya phala phala. Stay away from liars. Stay away from liars who lie about recruitment numbers, who say they launched branches, who say they gathered people in a classroom and discussed the situation of the meeting in the branch, the situation of our people. Khanebadile signature campaign. Today they lie about branch meetings, DP. Tomorrow they will lie about public money. They will call swimming pools fire pools. These liars are children of Ramaphosa, who are here to spread the culture of mattresses and couches. They are lost, and the time has come. Isolate those charlatans. They must go back wherever they came from. Arabanyake! This is Operation Tsuseletso. And from here on, we touch the ground running. We will no longer accept fake reports. We will no longer accept fake meetings. We will never accept fake programs. Protect your seat, fighter. Never, never again must it happen that we reduce the votes of so important a movement for the hopes of our people. Weakening votes is a violation of the EFF constitution. It is a fact that there is a widespread crisis, fighters, in Limpopo related to water, one that has crippled this province far much earlier than the electricity crisis. The situation is becoming worse, and there is no hope that under this government our people will receive any clean water anytime soon. In fact, this is a direct human rights violation because without water, our people have been sentenced to death. This problem is a combination of both incompetence and corrupt ANC government and white-owned farmers, DP, and mines who divert rivers into their own private dams. This deprives millions of households of access to even natural streams provided by nature. With high unemployment, Those who depend on subsistence farming cannot farm for themselves with no water. Their animals starve or have to travel for far distances to get access to streams. Rivers that used to flow are dry even in rainy seasons because water is diverted by white-owned farmers. In Guyana, our people have been robbed of sustainable water by the Pelle Northern water officials and contractors hired by the Department of Water and Sanitation, resulting in the loss of over 3 billion meant for Guyana Water Project, which was commissioned in 2014. This is all the while 55 Guyana villages, such as Siandani, Tsingi, Basani, Nkome, and others do not have running water. The white-owned company ZZ2, which is the country's biggest tomato producer, made unapproved alterations around the Middle Letaba Dam, affecting the flow of water to households in Guyana. This is a serious phenomenon, comrades, in many villages around the province. Over and above the incompetence of the ANC government to build or even sustain the existing water infrastructure, white farmers are literally diverting crucial rivers into their own private farms and reserves. In Mopani, only 32% of the households have piped water inside their yards, and 15.7% have access to a flushing or chemical toilet. About 76 of these populations use pit latrines. Contractors have looted millions and left the residents of Rapahla in Sukukuni without water. The project that was commissioned in 2017 and said to be completed in 12 months is entering the 7th year. Taps have run dry. Right here in Sishio, the people of Ward 37, where there are struggles in lack of water, you have water trucks that arrive in the late hours of the evening when elderly people cannot even go access. This was so until our councillor had to fight for more trucks to arrive. In Ward 10 of Blood River, many households have had no water since the dawn of democracy. And to this day, even the IDPs that get passed, water doesn't come. The whole of Sishio, even households in Limpopo, have had to reduce or to endure water and electricity load shedding. This is why the EFF must not retreat in encouraging Sishiro community to shut down the whole of Polokwane town until there is sustainable water for all black people in the municipality of Polokwane. We are impressing upon this province. We need a water program. We need a water revolution. We need to make sure that our people get water. Our economy in South Africa has been shrinking. In fact, there are no serious industrial developments since the days of apartheid. Limpopo province has failed to contribute to the production of goods and services outside agriculture. In 2010, the province's GDP was roughly 2.6%. Today, during the height of COVID, it entered -7%. And it cannot be explained or even blamed on the COVID-19 crisis. The reality is that even the agriculture sector is collapsing in this province. In the early 90s, agriculture contributed well over 15%. Today, it contributes 3%. The tertiary services, all services that are highly dependent on paper-based revenue activities, do not create jobs. Over 60% and contribute well over 60%, 65% to the GDP. You can therefore see that Limpopo's unemployment has been on the increase in the past 10 years. Hauna mereko. There are people, there is a generation that has never had a salary. A generation of people, we can't allow that. All traditional, the mining policy still relies on massive extraction of raw materials and beneficiating them elsewhere in the world. Most concerning, though, is the amount of government and police-aided illegal mining in Limpopo DP, particularly in Sekhukhune. The people who are doing illegal mining in Sekhukhune, maybe they're actually even sponsored by NATO. The type of guns that they have, Ikarki Ukraine-Russia war, engaged in illegal mining here in this province. The mining, but our people single out Stan Matabate as the key suspect in the looting associated with illegal extraction of minerals. All traditional authorities are based that have minerals in this province are being challenged by the government. They are trusts and they face sponsored disputes. The traditional leadership of Rapatla has been challenged so much that the body of the father of the rightful heir had to be exhumed, comrades, for a DNA confirmation. The High Court in Limpopo, presided by a judge president that ordinary people also accused of being conflicted, refuses to recognize the rightful heir, even after so painful an exhumation of the late chief. As a result, the instability there allows those who are looting to loot, because in the villages, when tribal authorities are in dispute, there's no leadership. The kingship of Bapedi faces the exact same problem due to minerals they also have. Customary law, which is clear about succession, bestows the current queen mother as the presiding head of the kingdom. However, because she's a woman, they are bullying her in an attempt to unseat her as the rightful throne owner. That's why at Senecara, because mama, they want to strip her of her rightful position in the kingdom of Bapedi. Banyakang, they want access to the minerals on the soil. They've gone to fundraise some distant male who it is said was the son of the late king, a brother to the king who was taken by COVID last year. The rule of the candle bearer is being undermined because this instability allows continuous looting. The people of Hlaneki village who sit on gold mines have also witnessed attempts, DP, by the provincial government on Limpopo to dispossess them of their lands. Joe Maswangani, who perhaps wanted access to gold mines, who is not even from Hlaneki, lobbied for the establishment of a new tribal authority just so as to get access to gold. The Matebele of Kwalanga have also seen their chieftaincy disputed principally by the provincial government. The territory carries coal disputes, deposits, and perhaps those ANC comtotis want access for some retirement funds. Everywhere we went, Balaka Stan Matabati. The tribal authority had to defend its historic territories in courts on a democratic government. This attempt is driven by these selfish interests. I'm saying that we have to form a serious alliance and encourage all the tribal chiefs that are sitting on mineral deposits and are being challenged to unite and fight back in defense of the land and the minerals of our people. We must call on them to unite and defend the land. The EFF is ready to work with traditional leaders in the name of protecting these minerals. We have visited the Khakibi Tribal Authority. We concretely oppose those community trusts are becoming a thing of the past. We encourage them to distribute dividends and the shares to everyone, so that those things of dividends are empowering to communities. Holy fighters, let us conclude. We'll share this political input with everybody so that we don't waste our time any further. But I cannot leave the platform before indicating that our revolution is also a revolution to change the treatment of women in society. The EFF cannot join society in undermining, overlooking, and marginalizing women. It is high time that women fighters take advantage of their majority within the movement. As women, never allow yourselves always to be deputies for men in the EFF. The tendency that we must always be led by men must come to an end. The fact is that EFF on the ground DP is built by women. In the operation Tsuseletso, we have witnessed more women building our movement than men. It is women who patiently work the ground. They are more reliable, they are more productive, they arrive on time. But when leadership is being discussed, men use their masculinity and cultural advantage to speak down on women. They make leadership a matter of authority about patriarchy. Women must rise in the EFF. Never doubt your intelligence. Never doubt your authority as a woman. Never doubt your efficiency, fighters. Whoever does not want woman leadership, sieke, go back to wherever we come from. We are going to allow, in fact, women don't need your permission to lead in the EFF. As we discuss this important and crucial question of leadership, skela chaba le basadi le ke tshebe le kwa khoneng le re dia byang. It can stop with you, Limpopo. Refuse to be dominated because you are a woman. If you can do door to door, why can't you be chairs and secretaries as well? Why are these men always giving you an option of being their deputies? The fight against GBV must start in this assembly. If we can trust, respect, and believe in women right in this assembly, then we can teach society to do the same. This assembly must accordingly welcome the War Council resolution that our top 5 officials must never be a festival of men only. Fighters, we must stop terrorism against women, rape, and murder. In conclusion, DP, commissars, and our honored guests, allow us to register our deepest gratitude for the work executed over the months by all fighters. There are no perfect assemblies. We must applaud you for your discipline and hard work. Some people, DP, when they are disbanded like Limpopo was disbanded, they don't accept it with discipline. But Limpopo accepted their disbandment with discipline. They were there. They never, ever, ever challenged and tried to undermine the revival process. You were the first to pass the 1 million membership target. Give yourselves a round of applause. You, with your honesty and hard work, you have ensured that we arrive in this assembly. You built the EFF. You started it from scratch and brought it back up. When the disbandment happened, others may have thought that it is finished with you. But like a mole, takadu, you have emerged from the ground. The children of Karl Marx must now launch the year of voter registration. There is no way we are going to improve the results, DP, of 2024 if we do not register here in Limpopo at least 500,000 new voters. It's possible. It's possible. The current voters roll a vote. I don't know shame. It for 10 years. Let us bring a new generation into the voters' roll. The year 2023 is the year of voter registration and mass political education. We must turn our 1 million members into activists with clear political content. We thank you as the commissars, and we ask you, open your hearts, and the revival must take root. Protect your revolutionary mission in your hearts. Protect and nurture your seeds. Never let anyone kill your seed or destroy it. Protect the EFF, even against your ambitions. Never, ever let your personal ambitions rise above this beautiful collective and the unity of our movement. Remember always, the best amongst us are those who unite us, not those who cause divisions. Let us always love one another as our constitution demands of it. Never look down on another fighter. Never. Never win an argument and lose a fighter. Osala uliti kara EFF. Build one another. Love one another. Protect your unity. Be proud of your unity. Above all, we must unleash radical programs to keep the fire burning in Limpopo. Pili pili ka EFF pili pili. Ndore buanga manda. Roro funarote.
Let me check it.
Did you hear that?
Yes. Tiamata masadi mume. Tiamata. Amanda, thank you very much. We're now going to engage on the political report. We're now going to take a round of hands, and we hand over to the Deputy President to handle this one.
Amanda, no, thank you very much, Commissar Jeanette, and thanks, Commissar Mbuiseni, for a very incisive and clear political report. So this is what is going to happen, delegates, fighters. We do not want to overstretch yourselves because you woke up early in the morning to take your transport to come here. So what we're going to do now is that we'll make reflections on the political report, like just one round of hands, and then some few interventions. And then we adjourn to then take our dinner. We then get allocated into our rooms, rest properly. Then tomorrow, we're going to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. Take the organizational report, and immediately after that, we're going to then take nominations. So it's fair on all of us that the organizational report is presented when all of us are relaxed. And the good thing is that the copies have been circulated, so you will all be having a better sense of the issues that are contained there. We take the organizational report, make reflections, adopt it, then we then call the elections agency to preside over the nominations so that we do that in a much more balanced environment. So if we overstretch now to take nominations and the organizational report, is going to take us beyond midnight. And we have said as War Council on several occasions that we should not overstrain delegates because you must rest enough so that when you go to commissions, you are still much more productive. So Commissar Jeanette is going to preside over the hands of those who want to make reflections on the political report. And then when the time is right, we're going to adjourn so that all of you can go to rest. Commissar Jeanette.
Thank you, DP. Can we get the hands on engagement of the political report? The hands. Mama on number 1. Number 2, sport is black. Number 3, yeah, that go booking. Can I see the females? Number 4, Gabuga. Number 5, here. Number 6, Mama. Number 7, Mama. Number 8. Can I see a female? Hand of a female. Number 9. Number 10. Yeah, number 10. 11. And 12. That is that round, in that order. 12 hands. There you go. You must start that side.
Thank you.
Okay. A suggestion is that we put the stand, microphone stand there. And then all the people that have been noted must queue behind that microphone stand in terms of their numbers. And they speak like that. And we must remember the rules here in terms of how long we are talking. Can we have the stand here so they can all queue? Or let's come queue here in terms of your numbers. Stand.
Thank you.
Batho ba sound o go ba le re thuseng. Gift o number 2 tlanso.
Thank you, Commissar Komani. The leadership from the CCT under the leadership of the DP, Floyd Nyiko Shivambu. My name is Mowan Okhotazo from Fetaho Mutubazi, Ward 19 in Sekhukhune region. I'm going to touch on 2 issues only. The first issue is the issue of our area, in particular Fetaho Mutubazi in Sekhukhune, the issue of the mining industry. We acknowledge that the organization has been trying to agitate the communities around that area, but I feel that we are not doing enough, because most of the times when we plan marches to these mines, we just decide today or after 2 days we are going to the mines. For instance, we went to Mudikwa in 2015. We had more than 15,000 people. The last time, the latest went to Mudiko were less than 100, because we do not organize our things and take time. We just get excited and want to engage in programs. to the people, the EFF now it's dying, it's no longer what it used to be. So I would urge that the leadership that is going to come, let us plan our programs thoroughly, because that embarrasses us. The second issue that I would speak to Commissar Ndlozi, it's the issue of the gender-based violence. To some of us, it's not even organizational, it's becoming personal. And we want to commend the strong message that you've given to us as the women of this province. But Commissar, in the same breath, I want to bring it to your attention, which I'm not aware that you know of that situation, where there is one female fighter who was allegedly beaten up and stabbed from Waterberg, allegedly by one of our own leaders in this province, a regional leader for that matter. The issue is with the police. But how must we feel as the women when we see this leader amongst ourselves here today? This man must be sent home to go and look at himself, self-correct, until when the police are done with the case. As we are speaking, the lady has relocated from her own region, left her husband. Her shack was destroyed. I spoke to her personally because we are the victims of gender-based violence. Even today, women are still abused in this organization. They are being insulted every day. We are not going to get tired of talking about it. We know when we live here, we are going to be sacrificed for raising it here. But we are raising it. How must we feel? When it's Kodongwane, all of us, we come and say Kodongwane must go, this and this must happen. But when it's our own leader, we want to pretend as if it did not happen. All we are asking for the organization, if a person is charged or there is a case against this person on such serious gender-based violence matters, let this person stay at home until they can deal with their issues, so that we can see that the organization is dealing with the gender-based violence. Lastly, Commissar Mbuiseni, we had a case there in Fetago of a lady who was murdered. The case was concluded. Those people were sent to many life imprisonment. But the challenge as we're sitting here is that the remainings of that lady, the few pieces that were with the government mortuary, till today, they are missing. The mortuary are saying they don't know where are those pieces. But the pieces were left there. All we are calling upon to the leadership, yourselves and the leadership that is coming today that we are going to elect, to follow up on the matter, to at least try to assist the family to get closure, because the pieces were lost in a government mortuary. Let me not take a lot of time, Commissar, it's already late. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Commissar. Greetings to the Deputy President, Commissars, fighters, greetings to all. Firstly, I want to welcome the political report presented by our provincial convener. The issue of water, Commissar, Deputy President, in Sekhukhune we've witnessed, pilot projects from the national government worth billions of rands. And until up to today, there is no water in Sekhukhune. I can give a list. There was a project of the WOP which costed billions. There was a project again, even up to today. There is one in Loskop. It was launched last month or 2 months ago. It was billions. But Sekhukhune remains dry, Deputy President. So I'm happy that in the political report, people of Sekhukhune are dry. And also, as I conclude, Deputy President, Commissars, the issue of now starting to know that, Magoshi, tomorrow, it's welcomed, because Limpopo almost is a rural area. It's a rural areas dominant. So hence now we're going to be closer to Magoshi. I think now our organization will be heading in a good direction really people on the ground, immediately they see that the EFF now is respecting Abuntuna Mahoshi, they will now start to take us, in a correct manner. Thanks very much, Commissioner.
Yeah, before the next speaker, Fatima Doda Tlap, there were females who raised hands. And I'm now going to, we said people must queue. So, so I'm going to allow another round, but I'm only going to point females. Can't be. It cannot be. Asu mama. Another, me. Can we get another 2 hands at least of female fighters? Eh? Bomme majority la tseba. That is why bunta de ba re tella so. Awa. Nna ke tshabo ba mo. Ke me ke represent abuntate. Can we have 2 hands at least? Even if there can be 10, I will be happy. Fighters. Our bomme ara kwa molaetsa o fetsa go o powerful so o buang ka rena. Eh? Bomme America voter. I re tlo engage. There are so many issues that we must talk about in this organization. Mama Mone. Can you please mix zebra approach in the EFF? Because Rwanda buntate fela bo ga sibo. Ke lona fela mo. Awa. La re gatella ya no. Can you get another hand of a female, please? Ke tlo le bitsa ka mabitso. A tira re le ko ntlela bolela. Awa. Ke mo ya no tshwantse re boleleng. Ke tlo le bitsa ka mabitso. Okay, who's Siami? Can we proceed, Mama?
Pili kabasadi pili. Pili kabasadi pili. Thank you very much, Commissars, Deputy President, the Delegate of the House. I'm going to touch on the issue of women. In the constitution of the EFF, we've got a woman command team. My question is, when are we going to implement that? It's there on the paper, black and white, but it's not implemented. It's 9 years now. We don't have woman command team. Women, we must demand this to be implemented. We are all leaders here. We must demand that to be implemented. We cannot talk about women while we don't have even a structure of a woman, but it's there in the constitution of the EFF. My second submission is about the constituency money. I don't know if it's a fund or monetary fund. I don't know how to say it. But, Commissioner Nklosi, the EFF has the constituency money. I understand when the DP said, you can't say, I cannot reach Rakibi because I don't have money. But the EFF has the constituency money. Where is that money going to? Because it must take care of the RCT member and the branch members to take care of the programs of the EFF. So we need that money to be transparent so that we can work the program of the organization. There's no way, comrades, we are unemployed. There's no way that we can run the program hungry from Mankwen to Rakibi. But we've got the constituency money that is hidden and no one is talking about that, and then we don't know where is that money going. But we believe that the newly elected leadership, it will make the money of the province transparent so that we know where that constituency money goes to. You know, when you talk about education, again, you said, Khoshi na bolela ka gore batho ba rena ba Khoshi Marina Maskukuni khala ka gore batho ba rena, our people are educated and we found them in the sport. Re ba kry-a ko spotong. It's our responsibility as EFF to fight for decolonization of education, whereby we are going to make graduates to create jobs, not to be job seekers. That is our responsibility, comrades. Again, I want to talk about the proportional delegate. I'm still going to submit this thing. EFF, we are asking leadership, we are asking proportional delegates. We cannot have a ward with 1,300 membership and then they've got 2 delegates, you know, equal to the ward that is having 50 members regarding delegates. The ward in a member at 50 and my ward in a member at 700. But when it comes to the PPA, the regional congress, ringani 2 delegates. We cannot be the same. People must go and work so that they can have delegates to the preference. And then we must work on maybe 500 is to 1, 500 is to 1, like that. Yeah, thank you. Pili kabasadi pili. Pili kabasadi pili. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greetings to Commissars, Deputy President.
Wait, fighters. We are still in the plenary. Let us pay attention to what is being said. These are engagements which are enrich our minds. We should go home and reserve something more. So, with due respect, fighters, let us sit down. You only go outside when you go to and then wabo. Let us listen to each other with due respect. Thanks.
Thanks again, Commissar. My name is Sikukune. My surname is Kukune. I'm from Sikukune region, Ward 23 in Makudutama. I am not going to be long because of the former speakers who were here have said a lot of things. First, we appreciate the political report. It is educational, it is encouraging, and then we are willing to take it forward. On the political report, Commissar, we mentioned a lot about water. Yes, water is a problem, Commissar, in all these regions. But water cannot go alone without electricity. We still have families in all these other regions whereby they've never tasted electricity from the day since democracy was formed. So with that, comrades, a lot have been said. I'm not going to waste time. Let us focus on all these other things and then we move forward. Forward, EFF, forward.
Thank you. Thank you, DP. Thank you, everybody. Without wasting of time, my question is, my name is Philia Mukawa, come from Capricorn region, Ward 18, Muleji. Now my question is one, what's the difference between political organization and political organization or political report and organization report? I just want to know 2 different things. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Victor Mabunda, from Ward 24 in Gyansab region, Mopani region.
But 4, can we be attentive, please?
Thank you very much for that protection. Let me welcome the political report Commissar, convener of the Limpopo province, EFF. And again, we want to appreciate this opportunity, DP, for allowing us to raise one thing. I'm very, very much excited about the EFF providing a portfolio on traditional affairs and leadership in the province. It's very much exciting, and I've learned that there are strides that have already been achieved. I want to also submit one unique challenge that one chief is facing in Dzumeri. I believe you might be aware of Dzumeri and his communities. Around 22 communities, there are about 6 wards in that particular area in Giyani sub-region, Greater Giyani municipality. The uniqueness of this particular submission is that the chief has got a certificate, is still recognized by the then Bantu or Gazankulu recognition. But all these packages are that of a senior traditional leader. He is recognized as a sub-chief, which is giving him tough times. That's why I'm saying we are very excited about this introduction of the traditional leadership and what traditional leadership portfolio. We want to submit that DP and Commissar Fighter Mapolo that please let's get a way of reaching that particular place. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissars. My name is Fighter Teresa Mate from Mopani, Tzanini sub-region. My concern, Commissar, it's about, I was excited when you were giving your political report about the issue of GBV. We keep on talking about it, but as women in the EFF, we are not protected. Talking about it, it's not enough. I said to myself, I have to come and raise this, whether I will be diverting from the issue of the day or not. My apologies. There is an issue where we allow it as an EFF that is happening in the social media, where even as the women of the EFF, we are allowing these men to make us to fight against each other, insulting a person because you guys are contesting each other. That thing, it was all over the media. It will not be correct when there is evidence of a woman who is being insulted, a married woman, if I'm not mistaken, because of the things that were mentioned there. Let us not just speak about this. Let us protect women. And let us make it a point that this ill discipline is sorted out. Because if it's not sorted out, Commissar, this thing is like poison. It is growing every day and is going to collapse the EFF. We are always saying that there are people who are buying delegates. But what is it that we do? Because now the province is having a lot of membership. Then we know of these issues and we keep quiet. Are we going to decline or are we going to increase? Because if nothing is done, even in the coming conference, that will happen. So my plea to you is that let us not talk about it only, but let us take action. Because slowly but surely, we are becoming the ANC in the EFF. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much and greetings DP and the CCT. I am Isaac Hlongwane, well known as Bazooka from Mopani, Tzanini, Ward 23. I have just 2 issues. The first one, it's on page 12 on the political report, the issue of Giyani. Now, I want to propose to the incoming PCT that they must go and take that guy called Bertie Fanzel of ZZ2 to court for blocking streams of water that must supply Litaba Dam and Middle East Litaba. Because the people of Giyani are suffering because of this white guy.
So this leadership must have a capacity of legal to take this guy to court. They must also go and follow up the issue of the bulk water supply that is coming from Nandoni to Guyana to supply 55 villages, which was appointed to a certain contractor called Katu. So they must go and follow up on that issue because 3 billion has gone there and there's no accountability for it. The last point, leadership, is that this conference, majority of the delegates are women. If these women don't take themselves serious and be the yes men to these males who makes them deputies and render them useless, you are not going to achieve this thing. Perhaps leadership is that this conference must take a resolution that any structure of the EFF must have more than 2 females in the top 5. This conference must prove it, that is possible, and it's only you women who can do it. You can't be bullied around by male. We want to see this conference electing more leadership to the top 5, which are women. Thank you very much.
Thank you, DP, CCT, and Program Director. My name is Sarah Lehwati from Capricorn in Lepelongumpi, Ward 3. I like to submit a political report and submit it to this issue at GPV. Renale problem ka this issue at GPV. Aina kibona nkare gare ifa attention ka mabaka mafeng even le rena re le bomme issue ya GPV ga re itse serious ke tswa di villaging mo ileng gore o kra ile gore ge ngwana a katilwe even if le ge ka ba ngwana o ileng gore it's a minor gape ngwana o ileng gore ke 17 years nna ke mmona ile a minor o kra ile gore le bomme ga ba mo support even le ka mogae ba e fihla ga ba e tlhagiše so nna ke na le kgopelo gore go PCT e leng gore e tlo kgethwa gone jwaje a re tšeeng this issue ya GBV re tšee serious because the cases tša di rape ba di tšholla ko di police station ka mabaka eng a gore o kra ebile ba victimizer bana re bile le di case tše dintši tše leng gore ke di tsamaile tše leng gore ba victimizer bana ba leng gore ba katilwe ba ba botšiša gore bona bošego ne ba ya kae o mongwe o kra ile gore ba mo katile ka gae batswadi ke no rata go dira go submita go lena bomme ba ileng gore ba gona ka mo gore this thing ga re itšeng serious ka re o kra ya malome a katile ngwana ka gae then ba e fihla ba re a re e fihleng because ke malome o tlo ya tronkong a re protecting bana ba rena a re protecting bana in our villages mo setšhabeng sa rena. So this issue ya GBV re failwa even like a public prosecutor ba re failwa because o kra ile gore di case ke tše di telele mo ileng gore ge go na le melato ya di rape ya go bolaya di dula sebaka se stelle ba re ba emetše di result tša madi and then ka yona nako o kra ile gore motho ileng gore it's a perpetrator o tsamaya mo strateng ngwana a be a end up a tšholotše molatola because o a shaba gore motho ola ba mo lokolotše o tsamaya mo tseleng. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Greetings to everyone present in this assembly. My name is Zex Lodi from Ward 17, the hosting ward. I just only have 2, please. One, the first one is that there are some of the delegates here who are being given copies of political reports, and us on this other side, all of us, we don't have. And that is making it difficult for some of the delegates to discuss the outcomes of the political report. Lastly, may we please be introduced to the steering committee so that should we have exigency motions to submit, we know whom we take them to. Thank you very much.
Amandla, Amandla,
Lebitso la ka ke Candice Mokoka, ke tswa ko Ward 11, ko Bagambeke under Mogalakwena municipality. Being in the ward since I was born, I've never seen any change. Question e ke na leng yona to the leadership ke gore na our councillors who are sitting in Mogalakwena municipality, what are their duties? I'm asking this because there was a bulk water project ka 2016 e le gore ne ntshitse a budget of 818 million. It was supposed to cover our villages. Mara ke bolela so, our village doesn't even have a pipeline. Number 2, re na le di villages, the sub-villages, tse le goreng the thief ANC ile ya tlisha di electrical projects tse le goreng go bontsha gore there was fraud e diragalang ka mola. I worked on those projects voluntarily. Ke checka house by house. Those households, the electricity tsa gona, the accounts, di bitsa ka mabitso a di clients tsa ko KZN. Whereby ibileng project ga ya fela. It's been about 8 years. Go ntse go lekana mogowe. Ye nngwe e ke tlo e gopela mo lena leadership. Ke a tseba gore re na le di leaders tse di tlang. Mara ye e nyaka lena. We are being slaved by the mining houses. We find ourselves in a trauma ka di mining houses. Ke Anglo Platinum, ho na le ye nngwe e tlang ka mo Bagambeke. It's called Bushveld Venmark Pamish. A ke tsebe lebitso la yona. Because every time when they try to present their names, very reject, they go back and change their name. Sadly, our traditional council or our traditional leadership, they are the one who commits fraud into these mines. So we need your interventions. Hakibuleli, because I was not involved in those projects, I'm opposing them. And unfortunately, Kikumana Kile Wani opposing these mining houses. Kibulela so, Runa Lichalete is earning about 10 million rent. The office bearers, they called me, because when we do the check requisition, maybe check requisition is 500 rand. The traditional council, it withdraw something like 500,000 and 500,500. But what I'm saying, our own Langa traditional leaders, they are committing fraud. We need your urgent help. Because right now, as I'm speaking to you, Kibidite a general meeting on the 26th of December. Please intervene in our case. Because we don't know how our land is going to be rehabilitated. We don't even have, let's say, the shareholding, mine. We don't even know the actual access to information. Our SLP was compromised.
Tobela, leadership kaofela, my name is Mamu Tupi Filmon Ramushaba, but they know me as Tyson. One, I will suggest that the coming leadership.
Where are you coming from?
I'm from Waterbeek, Mogalakwena.
Which ward?
Ward 12. Yeah, one, I will propose that we must establish a GBV structures so that it can be able to address this. And then again, I believe that this GBV is not female based violence, it's a gender, meaning in that structure. we must be there as men. The reason being, we must make sure gore a re tlogele a boy-child ko morago. Because these two, they're going to marry each other, and we might end up reply. So we must able to make sure that we educated both of them. That's my submission. That let it be a priority so that these cases, because Lorona as the parents, as the fathers, it affects us. With Tintam Father, you tint the whole nation. So it's not all men who are abusive. That's number one. Number two, I propose again that we must do the investigations to all the rivers. Because to me, it says, when I check also in Northwest, there's a crisis of water. I've got a house in Northwest. There's a crisis of water. And then there is Pula Ena. And even Pula Ena, but we still have an image. And therefore my analysis says, somebody stealing money for something else. And then therefore we must guard against a right for us to have a right. So please, let's investigate. Maybe this is a national thing for us to suffer basic services. Thirdly, that I want to touch is the issue of self-introspection in terms of leadership that you touch on. To say we must be careful not to repeat the disbandment. And that says to us, we must critically look upon the leadership that was there and say, what is it that we have done wrong and what is it that we can do better? So that so that on its own, it tells us that we're going to do the program of action. We're going to make sure that there's a report. I propose that the coming leadership of the province must demand reports from a region. A region must demand report from us, from the branch level, so that we can able to account. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissar, and greetings to the leadership of the Central Command team led by the Deputy President. My name is Rasi Maepa from Mogalakwena Ward 3 in Waterberg region. I just want to start by acknowledging the political report made by the provincial convener, Commissar Mbuiseni Ndlozi. And I appreciate that in the political report, it was captured very clearly about who should be the members of the EFF, or how should the members of the EFF look like or behave or conduct themselves like. Yes, the political report has conceptualized that better.
Yeah. Fighters, load shedding ya Ramaphosa je. So, generator will kick in. Arriving in order, ne? Continue.
Thanks. And I believe that how it was captured there, it's very progressive, and I wish that all members of the EFF could go and read and incline themselves on that political report. I was agitated by how the political report captured the question of shortage of water in the province as the ward councillor, because it is not only in Nandoni where the river strings were blocked. Rusty Fenter Dam is blocked. Doran Dry Dam is blocked. Glen Alpine in the municipal border between Blouberg, Lepalale and Mogalakwena, it's also blocked, and that can give more water to rural villages of those areas of Stadium.
And lastly, I want to also appreciate the involvement or the invitation of the traditional leadership into these meetings of the EFF. And I propose that there should be an organization or an organ that will be formed by the EFF to coordinate the activities of traditional leadership to replace Contralesa, because Contralesa has taken a sellout position. I so submit. Thanks very much.
Amanda, awethu. Thanks very much, Msibisha Mdiro. Lina laka kina Julius Wamatabane. I'm from Capricorn region, Lepeleng Kumpi, Ward 16. Indeed, I want to commend the political report